We're going to drain the swamp of corruption. Drain the swamp. And that's what we're doing. We are going to Washington, D.C., and we are going to drain the swamp.
Is Harvey Barnard from the Nesara organization. Nesara stands for National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act. It's a package that Harvey has put together, and he joins us in studio today.
I'm a systems troubleshooter. I take a look at a system for my clients and decide what's wrong, what's the problem. And we've got some real problems in this country. This time next year, we're looking at a $6 trillion debt. Nesara is the only bill out there that says we get rid of $1 trillion worth of debt up front.
Drain the swamp, and that's what we're doing.
Hi, I'm DIONESE Barnard, D for short. As you may know, my father was Harvey Francis Barnard, author of the National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act. We can clear up a misconception right there. It is stabilization.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to the Real Nesara Show. I'm DIONESE Barnard. Glad to be here this evening with my co-host, FCB, and his team, who, if it were not for them and their generous time and efforts, we could not do this. So welcome, everybody. We're glad you're here. FCB, how you doing this week?
I'm doing fantastic, love. I did a big show last night, just recovering from that. But, fantastic. Really good. I'm happy to be here.
I'll tell you what, I've been trying to keep up with you. You have been busy. I don't know how you do it. I really don't. Well, great. Tonight we're going to be doing chapter 3. And so we're going to learn about the IRS and why it is a unfair, unconstitutional, and immoral tax system for America and for anyone else for that matter. So, but I know we had several things come up this week. And so I want FCB to, like I said, like to do this it's time for the grifter report.
Yes. Yes, that's my favorite part.
I know it is. So take it away.
Now, you know what, Dee, let's talk about this for a moment real quickly. Okay. How about we let people know what we're going to be doing this as part of our show, a segment.
Yeah.
Okay. Where we're going to be exposing these grifters. Okay, grifters, con artists, and those that go around spreading falsehoods. Now, what we want to do is reach out to people and say, listen, if you know that anyone that you would like to expose, send Dee an email. What do you reckon, Dee?
I think that would work great, because I spend a good bit of my week, on social media, I guess, now, like most people do. And I look for these things and I read them. I either report them or I leave a comment, letting them know, hey, we're here. We have the truth. We have the original, bill. And so, and so the more information I have, the better I'm able to do that. So if people want to drop me an email, I'd love it. If it's in my inbox, it will get done.
Okay. Do you want to read out your email?
Yeah. Okay. So you can email me at the Nesara Institute at gmail.com. That's the email address. Or if you go to our website, nesarainstitute.com, there you can go down to the bottom, hit contact us either way, and you just drop me a line.
Awesome. Before we start, would you like to share a little story that you shared with me on the pre-show, just so everyone knows? Which is obviously it's hitting a lot of.
Are you
nerves,
talking about
is
the social media story?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
All
yes,
right.
please,
Yeah. Okay.
please divulge.
Again, I'm as I've told SCP in the past, I'm a little bit of a social media retard and talk to me. But anyway, about a week ago, I had made a couple of comments on some Nesara channels. And I looked this morning and lo and behold, I had gotten some responses. So I guess we can share those with y'all. One of them I commented on, let's see, the Nesara site. My comment was, and it is under my name. I'm not running from anybody. It's just my name. I said, this is untrue to say the least. The real bill, the National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act, written by Harvey F. Barnard, has never been passed. Do your research. I got a comment back from Super Soldier Talk.
Mm-hmm. And I know who that is.
Oh, you know who that is?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. No, that's
Okay.
Mr. James Rink.
Okay.
Mr. James Rink is feeling the pinch. No, you should be feeling it, James, or your lies and your deception.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, that's not the same law. Nice try. I replied, do you have a copy of your law? And that was the end of that.
No, you would have heard. You would have heard. No, have you heard my crickets?
Yeah.
That's what you would have heard from Mr. James Rink. Because what is coming his way is a world of pain. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's basically, it's going to destroy his world upside down. Now, he's going out there and he's been putting it in his movie since 2012. And obviously he's playing this little, it's not the same law. No, the law that you've been putting out there, James, is something that is basically being based on the double oneness, Sinead Goodwin's work. And we know that she's a con artist. I've exposed that. I mean, hey, he's just testing the waters to see how, he's basically, he's shitting himself, to be quite honest.
Well, as we've said in the past, we're not going anywhere. So the other one I had, let me get back here. Just y'all bear with me.
Yeah, no,
okay, so let's go here. Comments. This was, unbeknownst to me, I believe, Dr. Charlie Ward's site. Again, with the same message that I gave him. And his response was, you're wrong. Are you current with the upcoming global warm reset? And I replied, please tell me about it.
Global warm?
That's what it says.
What is it? Is he mixing global warming with global?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's what it says, word for word. And I just asked for him to please tell me about it so I could see what he
what did you hear this?
Yeah.
I thought so. No, Mr. Dr. Ward, number one, he's not a doctor. I've exposed him as well. Number two, he's the biggest grifter of them all. He's King Grifter up the top. He was the one that started, rebadged all the stuff and then brought it into the mix. And obviously, look, you got to look at what they're doing. They're trying to suss things out. They're trying to stir you up there. They know that I've got your back. Don't you worry.
Yeah. And I'm
that
not
Kraken
worried.
did what it did.
Yeah, it got him upset or cautious at least, and so that's a good thing.
Definitely. And you know what we're going to do? Like, let's share with the audience is that Dee and I are going to put together a flyer. Now, the double oneness did her own little pretty flyer that they've been spinning around the place. We're going to fight fire with fire, aren't we, Dee?
Yes. I'll be working on a flyer. We have a couple of sheets we'll share at the end of the show this week that line things out. I'm going to take those and, tweak them up, make them look nice, and we'll do our own flyer. And we'll start posting that everywhere. So.
Now, drum roll. Here we go. The Grifters Con Artist, shall we say, segment of the show. Now, I'm going to bring it up and we can talk through it, okay?
Okay.
And I want to say thank you to look, when you send something to us, if you don't want us to mention you, we won't, to protect your identity. We respect that, isn't it right, Dee?
Yes, I don't want to call anybody out. If you send me some information, I'm not going to put who it came from or where it came from. I'm going to do my own investigation. So is FCB. And then we'll take it from there.
So God's army saying we got you back, D.
Yeah.
All right. And the other thing is they're going to spread those flies like wildfire.
Okay,
Don't you worry.
great.
We'll make sure that goes far and wide.
We'll get it out to y'all.
Now, let's go with this one. So we want to say thank you to this beautiful lady that reached out to D. Okay, D, you want to read it? Let's go start off here first.
Oh, I can't see. I don't have my glasses on.
Okay, let me zoom it in for you then.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay. With the 11.
So basically, that black area is her identity.
There's also when FCB and yourself talk the truth about Nesara, canceled it. Oh, that's right. She was telling me she was a member of this particular organization that put out this flyer, but she had canceled it, and she was thanking us for getting out here and telling the truth.
Yes.
So, and
now, we will really appreciate it, guys. And as we said, we're here to protect you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So that's why we put the black area over it. And we thank that, that particular lady for reaching out today and doing this. And we want everybody to feel comfortable in doing that as well. Now, let's talk about mathematics, Dee, before we get into the crux of things, as we say.
Okay.
Now, this entity, Operation Disclosure Newsletter, is charging $5 per month. Now, let's do the mathematics. Let's be conservative, as we said, right? 100,000. We're being conservative. I mean, they're obviously got it more, but $100,000 a month at $5. How much does that equate to?
$500,000.
There you go.
Right.
$500,000 US. Now, you let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen, and you do the maths. We're being conservative. Now, let's talk about if they have 1 million followers, how much money are they making per month?
Right. Yeah.
At $5.
It's incredible. It's 5 million. It just staggers the mind. It really does.
Well, that's what they do is they base everything on a subscription model. It's insane the amount of money they make. It's insane. No, people, I know it's holy crap, Turson, I get it,
Right.
Yeah, it's holy crap, all right? Because you know what? Let me show you. People don't bother reading the fine print. That's the problem, D. They just go ahead. And this lady, I just want to add that this lady cancelled her subscription. And great stuff.
Yes.
Better late than never, as they say.
That's right. And we welcome everybody. Come on board. We're not charging a subscription. We're not charging. Well, you know what? Okay, for $37 on Amazon, that's in the American price.
Let me just bring you up again.
One time,
you go for it.
One time, you can have the truth.
Sorry,
you can have the whole truth, right?
Yeah.
So no subscriptions, no ongoing fees, no, BS. It's just the real.
Do you want to show your book again?
Yes. Let's see if I don't make sure to get it in the light. There we go. Draining. Pardon my tabs. That's for tonight's discussion. But there you go. Okay. Kindle version. We have the Kindle version and the paperback.
Now let's get down to brass tacks, as we say, which is my part. Sorry, not fart. My
that's your part.
My part to do. Yeah. Sorry, I had to laugh about it. Now, Operation Disclosure. Number one, look at this. The GCR, Global Currency Reset. That is something that they created. It's their little, shall we say, part of their grift. They connect Nesara, just the fake pseudo, Nesara, Gesara, whatever you want to call it. Now, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. How are you able to wipe your hands clean and still walk away with the cash, right? You put in a disclosure, but nobody bothers to read the disclosure, do they, Dee?
No. If you did, how could you invest in something like that? But when you read it to everyone out there, but yeah, why would I?
Exactly.
Unless okay, entertainment.
You ready for this one?
Go ahead.
And this is what I'm saying. The duty disclaimer. What's a duty disclaimer? Judy. Is it a person's name?
I think she's the one that writes the newsletter.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So Judy's put a disclaimer. Please be aware that I report the news as I find it. Try to credit articles with the original author. All right. And I'm not responsible for the content, but I'm responsible for getting you cash. Right? Information in the post or the articles from social media sites that I quote may not be true, right? I report this information for educational or entertainment purposes. Are we being entertained?
I'm not. And it says purposes only, not as fact.
Can you believe it?
What's the point?
No one bothers to read the fine print. And I encourage you. So, in other words, they're going around spreading all this garbage. They're making money, millions of dollars, if millions, right? Or hundreds of thousands. Yep. And then on top of that, they're telling you, don't believe what we're putting out there. We're not held responsible. We are not responsible. This is for, I report this information for educational or entertainment purposes. So what they do, this is how it works. Mm-hmm. And I've said it, Dee. I'll just stop it there real quickly. The way a good con artist works is basically like this. Mixing fiction and fact together, fact and fiction. Mm-hmm. So what they've done is they put things like articles to do with fact. Then they got the embellishments as well, the fictitious embellishments. So it's like, don't hold me accountable. I'm only getting the information from God knows what resources, right?
Right. Yeah.
Don't it could be for educational purposes because it could be based on fact, or it could be for entertainment purposes and not as fact. Do you see what I mean? This is
it's left for the person to figure out on their own. So,
So this is what I'm saying. So they're walking away with all this money. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but I'm going to call it what it is. Oh. To me, it's a grift. Yeah. That's what it is. You're going out there and you're putting out and you're confusing. You're creating confusion. Restored Republic, or whatever you want to call yourselves, Operation Disclosure. Now, I've got the real person's name. Let me tell you who it is. Mr. Patrick Da Costa. You're going around there as the founder and the owner, putting out this bunch of garbage. You're using a disclosure to wipe your hands clean, right? And to sit there and basically confuse people. Right. Let me show the amount of confusion, Dee. I think people really need to know the truth here.
Sure.
And it's disgusting. I'm absolutely disgusted. And I'm sorry, you should be held accountable for that's criminal. You're committing fraud. You're going out there and you're saying at the end of the day that you're not held responsible. Sorry, you're out there and you're playing with people's psychology. Yes. That's the reality there.
Yes. That's the point I was going to make. People are changing their lives. That's not to interrupt you, but they're changing their lives, their finances, how they invest their money or how they plan their future based on what they are mistakenly perceiving as fact. Okay,
so we've got a name here. It's Judy Byington. Okay. That little disclosure is from Judy Byington. Now, what we need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to hold them accountable. Go and flood their emails and tell them that's not excusable. I'm sorry, we're not going to take your little disclaimer. We're going to expose you to everybody. Yeah. No, it's disgusting. It's disgraceful because you know what they're paying with. You're right. Number one, people adjust their budget. That every month, every $5 or $1, whatever it is, counts in the household. I know what it's like there.
Yes.
It's a make or break situation.
Right.
Now, these entities don't care. They don't care about people's psychology. They don't care about people's well-being. All they care about is enriching themselves. And then they use a disclosure as a way out. You know? Mm-hmm. No. Sorry, I ain't buying it. And neither should you.
No, we're not.
No. Let me continue on.
Go ahead.
I encourage you to do your own research. Yeah, we're doing our research and we're exposing you, Judy. Right. And we're exposing you, Patrick. That's what we're doing. Right? That's our research today. Now, obviously, they're using Charlie Kirk. I mean, do you see what I mean? They use these fact, fiction. And then they play on the emotional heartstrings. No, they're playing they're using the psychological game here. Let me scroll down. Then they've got all this hallelujah business going on, right? So about Jesus Christ, adding the God factor. That's another part of the grift. They're adding God, right?
Right.
They all do it. Now, like Charlie Ward, Dr. Charlie Ward, Jesus loves you, and he gets that poor child that's not even his child to go out there and says it. And he's not even religious himself, right? Now, have a look at this. There we go. The Iraqi dinar scam, the global financial system. Let's talk about that one, Patrick and Judy, right? Iraqi dinar revaluation, redemption center, dongs, all that. I've exposed that on the Kraken. I've shown you that it's a old con, and they revamped it. You know what I mean? And they reintroduced it. So they've got that going on. Is that entertainment purposes? Because I'm not being entertained. I think it's quite sickening, to be quite honest. And then you got this one here, quantum Trump's
Sarah.
That one comes from the Santa surfing, that clown over there, the beach broadcaster. She's the one that created these haps with Trump Sarah written on it. And look at this, quantum, they're using that word quantum and they're throwing it around the place because quantum computing basically has been around for a long time.
Oh yeah, it has been around a long time. Yeah, they haven't matched it with financial systems. Just, I mean, that's still in the works. If you look it up, it will tell you, yeah, it's maybe possible, but it's not here yet.
So you got this business, right? You got the quantum Trump Sarah, there we go, Sarah, whatever you want to call it. And remember, this comes from James Rink's movie as well.
Yes.
Okay, which comes from the double oneness. I'll prove that. Akashane Goodwin, right? Which is to do with the Farmers Claims Act, or as Nick Alvier calls it, another name. Now, what they're doing is they're bouncing this garbage around, and it's basically giving. I heard it from here. I heard it from the. Do you see the echo chamber effect that we've got dealing? And then they're trying to wipe their hands clean. Sorry. Then they got QFS, Charlie Ward's little creation over here.
Right.
And the quantum financial system, right? And they're using President Trump's quantum initiative, and they're mixing that. So they're using fact and fiction again.
Fiction, yeah.
Again, that's how they operate, And it just goes on and on. And I've got more, don't you worry. So if you want to reach out to these guys, reach out to these guys. They're called the Voyages of Light and gmail.com. No. They should be called the Voyages of Bullshit, to be quite honest. And look at this. Yeah, subscribe. You want to subscribe and pay. No, but why would you want to subscribe to a bunch of idiots, that basically tell you, hey, we're not going to be held responsible for the garbage that we're peddling out there? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't.
And if it gets worse, don't worry, as it always does. There's the disclosure. So Judy's got a little disclosure there. No, Judy, that's not going to save you. Don't you worry. No, everything's been recorded. And remember, President Trump cannot stand grifters. No, you can play a little disclaimer as much as you want. Look at this. President Trump gave the green light for the EBS activation on when? Didn't it just 13th of September? Didn't it pass? I didn't see no EBS activation.
I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
No, did anyone here see it? I must have didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then we got the Iraqi dinar business going on again. Redemption Center, this whole thing. Oh, yeah. Here we go, D.
Fully implemented January 1st. Now, that was the video that I don't think we played that last time, that they put out, and it, because that's the one my friend sent me. And it was him sitting at the desk. It was all AI generated, and him signing this bill.
I've got that video.
Panicked.
You remember that little video?
Huh?
I think I've got that video, darling.
Yeah, we played it last week.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, she panicked. My friend panicked. She said, "Oh my God!" And I said, "Calm down, calm down. It's okay."
No, it's the grifters again.
It's fake. Don't worry about it. But yeah. So, and her reaction now, she knows about us. She supports us, but still, it scared her, right? Because she knows the truth, and so can imagine someone who knows us and knows what we're doing, the emotion that it causes people, the upset
Well,
that it causes. So
it's people like Judy and Patrick over here that basically muck around with people's emotional state. Now, your friend might have been scared, but there are others that are on the edge.
yeah.
They don't care. They don't care because they think their disclosures are going to basically wipe their hands clean. They can walk away with the money, and they have no, you go and do your research, but we're going to spread the garbage around the place. What are you? Seriously, don't you have a conscience on yourselves? You don't, do you? No. Because you're still spreading. Now, the date promises, you know what the date promises do? They always promise dates.
Kick it down the road.
Look at this. The January the 1st, 2026, the great, they've been saying this for how long? I mean, you just said, look about this, that the 13th of September, there was supposed to be an EBS activation. Trump's given the green light. And then now you're kicking the can down the road. You're right. Yeah. And saying about Nesara, Gesara, whatever you want to call it, the fake Nesara and Gesara will be implemented. So they continue on with this garbage. And Judy, I'm sorry, but you're the ones that continue to enable this fraud. So you should all be held accountable. I'm sorry, but it's disgusting. And you know what? Anyone that watches this show, they should basically stop subscribing because, look, Judy and Patrick are not giving you the information. They even said it themselves. I'm only quoting them, ladies and gentlemen. This is their disclaimer. The thing is, nobody bothers to read the disclaimer, D. If they had read it, okay, would you buy that? Do you want to be entertained for $5 with garbage like this?
Yeah, my entertainment dollars go elsewhere. So,
well, that's it. I mean, look,
on animal food.
Look at this. I mean, look, it's all here. Entertainment purposes, not be true. I'm not responsible. No. You are responsible because you put your money out. You want the $5 subscription, and we've done the mathematics, and we know you're making big dollars. So don't sit there and play this little game. You know what I mean? Sorry, it G's me up. You know why? Because people like them, they don't have a regard for anybody.
Right. And that's what we're here to do. We're going to expose them and actually offer something of substance that you can, think about and read and learn about it. These are, to me, seem to be just false promise after false promise after false promise. I'm telling you that the original Sarah was never passed. It can be, or some similar version of it, but we have to know about it, and we have to know the fundamental principles of it, and we have to demand it.
Look at this
from our elected officials.
Do you see this one? This all reeks the double oneness all over it. Can you read it? The signing
of the NDA document was for those who wish the contract rate. The rate was higher, but required certain restrictions, such as a 90-day silence on your exchange information and participation in the humanitarian projects. If the NDA was broken, you stood the risk of losing your exchange monies. Okay, so that's the non-disclosure agreement that they're always talking about.
Yes, that's right. The NDA, the gag orders, the excuses that they keep. Now, the humanitarian projects, that's from Charlie Ward.
Right.
Charlie Ward talks about the ZIMs, about being used for humanitarian projects, and then your silence in exchange
for your. Yeah.
Can you believe it?
I love, that non-disclosure agreement. If it so suits your purposes, like I said, I don't know of a politician, a politician's clerk, or anyone that would keep their mouth shut for all those years. You know how we've talked about, they said Harvey was a CIA agent and that it was all secret and blah, blah. And I'm telling you, if it so suited their purposes, they would spill the beans. Okay. Follow the money. And then you will find it.
I can just think about this. If you and I were on Tucker's show, we would destroy him in 2.5 seconds. They wouldn't know where to hide.
Right.
You think about that kind of thing. If Tucker Carlson is watching, or anyone that is connected to him, and you want the real truth, bring us on the show.
Oh,
We'll give you the real truth.
I would love to talk to Tucker. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be great.
That
because
would be great.
as your producer, I'll make sure that everything's at your hands to go and produce and show him. And the truth needs to be known, and these scammers, I'm sorry, they're all a bunch of scammers. And you see what we're dealing against here, D? It's ridiculous.
Right. And something that, I was telling you before we went on air, I heard your show last night. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's the middle of the night for us. So I went to sleep with my earbuds in, and I woke up at about 2:00 in the morning. But you were speaking to a nice gentleman, young man. I believe he was either in the military or had been in the military, and we were having a really good conversation. But you were talking about the Great Awakening and how we're living in it right now. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of made me think, all people think about, we romanticize the past. What would it have been like to live in this time or that time? Like I said, for me, it's the Trojan War. I've always been fascinated with that. Or someone said, I'd like to live in the Renaissance or the Revolutionary War. Well, decades from now, and even further, people are going to wonder, hey, wonder what it was like to live during the Great Awakening. We're doing it. And people today that, your children, your grandchildren or great-grandchildren may come back and ask you one day, hey, Mama, Papa, what was it like to live during the Great Awakening? What are you going to say? Mm-hmm. And it made me think, I said, I'm going to be able to say I was on the front lines. I was bringing the truth. I was really trying to make a change. And I think the people that are viewing us now are part of that group, that will be able to say, I helped, I participated. And like you were talking about these grifters, they are already on the battlefield, kind of.
Yes.
Okay. But not really, because they live in an echo chamber. Yes. And you and I know you're working so hard and I'm working hard. And it's it costs us money, but
yes.
We're like the little drummer boy on the side. We got the rhythm because we got the truth. But yes. In order to get out on that battlefield, we've got to elevate our numbers, because it's a numbers game.
It is a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. Yeah. Well, let me finish this. If people in our audience have ever seen the movie Sneakers, I know it was an old movie, and it had Robert Redford in it. And if you've ever watched that movie, rest in peace, Robert Redford. It's all about the ones and the zeros, and it'll give you the total idea of what's going on now. But it's about the numbers, the likes, the comments, the shares, the book sales. Okay, as these numbers start to rise, we get pushed into that field. Right. And then can get the attention of someone like Tucker Carlson, or something like that. And, I want to thank everybody who's been helping us out. I get messages and I've gotten some emails, and I've actually seen online where people are commenting and reporting these websites. So thanks, guys. Just keep it up.
You know what is a disgrace too, D? How, okay, you got Dr. Charlie Ward, you got Mr. James Rink and all these other cast of characters. But then you got people like Derek Johnson, Mr. Ricardo Bossi, that are basically in the military, and they go on these shows that basically spread the lies. They go around, and I've got a name for them. They're called circle jerkers, because they go around jerking each other off, pardon my French, right? And they use their military, shall we say, status to go around, and that sort of gives grounding to whatever the grifter is saying. Do you know what I mean?
Lends credibility to their argument. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, Derek Johnson, I'm sorry, Derek, but you're a disgrace. And I used to like you, and we used to talk, and we used to be buddies. But no. Ever since you went and you did that thing with Charlie Ward, Dr. Charlie Ward, and you've been going around to his little seminars, and because he went to Trump's what do you call it, the golf center in Miami.
Mar-a-Lago?
No, not Mar-a-Lago, the Doral.
Oh, right? Okay, the golf.
Yes.
Okay.
So he went there with Charlie Ward, and basically they've been going around pushing the QFS, all the fakery, Nesara, all that garbage. And Derek Johnson is somebody that reads about the laws and orders. So he's giving grounding to the fakery of what they're putting out there. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem we're dealing with. And it's because, have you heard of the word fame fag? Someone that's, about fame and...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no. Yeah, because he's he tries to boost his country singing career. He can't sing. I wouldn't even torture you with it. And he's been, because he failed in that sense, and then he's been trying to, obviously bounce around the place and sell his wares that way. Now, these are, and then because he says that he's a veteran in the, military, and they use these little veteran cards, and it's a disgrace. It really is. I'm sorry.
Right.
The military thing. And this is the con artistry that we're dealing with. This is the level of con artistry. So they're using their status as a way of giving grounding to the grifters as well. Right. So realistically speaking, they're enabling the grifters. They are grifters themselves. Know what I mean, Dee? This is the level of con artistry. But you mentioned Tucker Carlson. Are you ready for this one?
I don't know.
Do you want to read this section over here?
Which one? The top one or the... Okay.
Yeah, we've got Monday, the 15th of September.
Okay, Mondays, 15th of September, 2025, your new bank account on the quantum system. QFS classified financial signal report. Tucker Carlson on Telegram.
There you go.
Okay.
Tucker Carlson doesn't have a Telegram account, guy.
Okay, go ahead. See, I didn't know that. You're on your social
No,
media.
he doesn't. And Tucker Carlson wouldn't be going out there promoting the QFS.
I don't think.
That's fake.
That's not his style. So
I should send him that so then he can go and hold them accountable.
Let me read
fraud.
the next one here.
Maybe that's a good idea.
Okay.
What do you reckon, Dee?
Do what?
Send Tucker, one of his team, this little thing over here, and tell him that Judy and Patrick say hi from Operation Disclosure.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Person on Telegram.
Because then you can go and sue their bum,
Yeah.
And then look at this. So we've got the quantum financial system, biometric asset access, and all this other stuff. I mean, do they sit there and they come up with this fiction? Honestly, I don't know how they do it. They should go and, they will get, shall we say, more reputation or reputability if they go and become a fiction novelist, EBS, here we go, ties into the QFS. Lovely.
Packets of disclosure. Wait, go back up. I didn't read that. Packets of disclosure ride side by side with packets of settlement. You will see the truth and you will receive the reset. Okay.
So you got that business.
But this is for people who pay them the $5.
Yes, correct.
I'm being sarcastic, but the people who pay them the $5 get the packet, or what about the rest of us? So.
Well, this is all, as I said, they sit there and they come up with this fiction, and the QFS comes out from Charlie Award. He even declared it. He went on stage. Did you see that video that I put out on the Kraken?
Yeah.
So he came out on stage and he declared to be the one that is the spokesperson for the QFS, and he went live and all that sort of stuff. And it's just been one, shall we say, lie after lie,
After lie. Yeah.
And this is the thing. Now, let me take you to their website. After all, this is their website, Dee. And what I've done is I've saved everybody the trouble of basically, shall we say, typing in that search word Nesara, right? And then we got this guy right here, what's his name? Del Boone. Nesara announced, Nesara Gesara, whatever you want to call it, right? Pseudo Nesara. Look at this. So you got this fictitious stuff. Then there we go. Dee. Do you see how this all comes into the mix? About the med beds and Nesara?
Yeah.
The pseudo Nesara?
Yeah.
And it goes on. And look at this, and on and on. And it's just ridiculous. And then they go into other areas such as the med beds, right? Which we all know. There we go. Look at this. They're still going on about it. My computer's had enough of the crap. Look at this. I'm fighting with a computer. No, I don't want to do this anymore. Look at this. Say, Mr. Del Boone happens to be the draw card here, and he's talking about med beds, and all this fictitious stuff. I mean, if you go up the top, look at this. Paranormal, economics, health. They've got it all. Religion, aliens, the whole box and dice. It's all there.
It's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, it's the one-stop shop for bullshit. Now, and on the bottom, we've got good old Patrick there, and he's got his hand open up nice and wide with Judy, and they're accepting $5 a month, and then they send you right? Look at this. Look at this. If you want to write to them, you can write to them. I suggest you write to them, people. I reckon we all should write to them. And basically, look at this. So they've got a little disclaimer. Here we go. All articles and videos, images posted on Operation Disclosure were submitted by readers. So they're wiping their hands clean. So they open up, shall we say, we are receiving the money and we don't care what goes in there. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
We're not going to be held responsible because look at this, submitted by readers and or handpicked by the site themselves. Hold on a minute. So in other words, you can go in there and you can make any garbage you want, submit it. And if the garbage is good enough, they'll handpick you. Is that right? And then it's for entertainment purposes. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we're happy to take your money.
Yeah.
How does that work?
They're getting away with it. Then that's the problem. And that's the problem, you know.
You know, and this is what I'm saying. This is sick.
That's
It's
why
really
people
sick.
don't know what the real truth is, you know. And so that we just got to keep doing what we're doing. And everybody out there that's watching, you know, get on board and help us and help spreading it. And we're going to get y'all those flyers so that y'all can post them on your sites.
And as we said, guys, I mean, look, there's a lot of people, and I get it. They've been upset. If you read the comments, they're upset because they've been grifted.
Yeah.
Right? There's victims there.
Yes.
No, don't you worry. We're empowering you with the truth. Now, if you want us to do, you know, shall we say, a little bit of a dive into their background, please don't hesitate to send you an email to Dee.
Send me an email. Yeah, we'll put there's my email address, nesarainstitute@gmail.com. Just drop me a line, you know, attach what you found and that type of stuff, and we'll get after it. We'll look into it. So.
Exactly. Yeah. How about we get into the crux of things?
You ready? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So tonight we were doing chapter 3, which is the chapter about IRS, and I loved how you put it on the show. Rest in peace, IRS. So the requiem. So that just ties together really great.
Well, a requiem. You know what a requiem means?
Oh yeah.
Your dad called it a requiem.
A requiem.
Requiem. Oh, sorry.
Requiem, which is a poem or a song for a deceased or past.
Exactly.
Okay, so there you go.
Rest in
That's
peace.
what I liked. It was cute. It was a cute analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, real quick. Harvey in chapter 3, he lays out the idea of abolishing the income tax and replacing it with a simple retail sales tax. He talks about efficiency, transparency, fairness. He makes a case that the federal income tax system is unsustainable, both economically, constitutionally, and morally. Right.
What page is chapter 3, darling? Just so we can.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We've got to get used to everybody doing it. You know, we're doing studies here.
And we're doing studies here. Okay. So
I got 66.
66 is the beginning of chapter 3. Their lips are moving. Requiem for the income tax. And the first thing, now you can bring up the outline.
Yes. Which one's that? Is that
that's the one that says Real Nesara, episode 3.
Okay, I got that one. I'm bringing it up now. Give me a quick moment.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay. You can skip that first page because that's just our business there. Go down to the second page. I need to.
Second page.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what. I'm going to bring it up on my screen over here, so I can follow.
This one here you're talking about.
Yes. So I can follow along with the big print. Okay. Now this one. Excuse me. I'm just going to read this to you. It's on page 69 for those of you that have your books. And let's see. I don't know if I have the Kindle page, but 69. And this is just a paragraph. Our current predicament traces almost directly to the widely held belief that at the end of World War II, that we as a nation were smart enough and rich enough to accomplish any goal, and to the selection of national goals based on an altruistic philosophy. America would finance the rebuilding of the world in its own image and serve as the policeman. At home, we would build a great society and wage war on poverty. In the process, Our government's monetary and fiscal policies devastated our national productivity and standard of living, not to mention our pride. The federal income tax system is by far the worst element of the nation's fiscal policy. That comes directly from chapter 3. Now, Harvey, makes his case for eliminating the IRS on many levels. He talks about more jobs. Okay, so that's one of the first things that he said. Politicians are always saying, "Oh, we need more jobs. We need more jobs. We need more jobs." Well, what Harvey is saying, and this quote is on page 69 in the paperback. It says, it's 85 in the Kindle. America needs lots of high-paying jobs looking for workers, not lots of workers looking for low-paying jobs. And he used an example of the Wright Aircraft Company, which I have a little explanation on down here, but I'll tell you the story. The Wright Aircraft Company, of course, it built aircraft, and it was in business for a long time. They'd had a couple of lawsuits due to regulations. One of them was actually a pilot error. There was a plane that crashed, and it was a pilot's error. And that lawsuit went back on them. The pilot's family sued. And because Wright Aircraft was the only one that had any money, regulations made them foot the whole bill. But the real straw that made this company moved overseas, and here's why. During World War II, they extended the runway, and how they did that was they went and dug a big hole of dirt, and they extended their runway so that they could get the planes in and out. Well, time passed, and the drainage was never put in or anything like that, and the hole was still there. They wanted to get a permit to actually go ahead and finish the runway properly and that kind of stuff. Well, 70% of the year, that big hole out there was dry. The rest of the time, it would fill with water. The people in Washington, the Congress in Washington, denied their request to extend this because they declared it as wetlands. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So it wasn't wetlands. And the point of this that Harvey is making is that, and this next quote is on page 68 in the paperback and 84 in the Kindle. If you go, right there, you've got it up on the screen. Yep. Members of Congress enthusiastic about righting perceived wrongs fire legislative bullets randomly into the air like celebrating third world gunmen, not knowing where their bullets will land. The legislators go with the, and it's just sad to say, but the special interest, whoever's knocking the loudest, you yes. can bet that it was not their intention at that time to get 1,400 people out of jobs. Because what the company did after all this overregulation, ridiculous lawsuits, and then not being able to expand their business due to a hole in the ground that was declared a wetlands, they packed up and moved to another country. Okay. What happened?
It was done by design, to be quite honest.
It could have been, but here's what happened to the real people. There's 1,400 people that lost their jobs. Then you have all of the supporting businesses there that are supporting the people that work there. You have the suppliers that sent their stuff there. Mm-hmm. So this affected the economy, through this one, act, that they didn't go and investigate. They didn't go see it. And legislatures do that. They don't really get involved. They just, you got a specialist, you got a lobby, we're going to do what you want us to do right now. Well, what did that do? Daddy gives an example. Harvey gives an example about a typical Daddy gives an example about a typical family who, okay, so the father was working at the aircraft company. He loses his job. He tries to find another one. He finds one. I think the numbers that Harvey used were $87,000 a year is what he was making. He can't find a job at that level, so he takes one for $27,000. Now the mom is going to work and she's getting a job for $20,000 a year. The oldest daughter, who wanted to go to college, now is working at a low
Fast
wage
food.
job. Yeah, fast food job. And she is going to go to state college or community college if she can get a grant. And the younger boy is now working part-time. So now you've got 4 people in the family working, all at low paying jobs. And the point that Harvey was trying to make is our country needs higher wage jobs. Okay. Now you can say, you can take a look at what's going on with President Trump, and he's bringing in more high-tech jobs, more jobs that generate better wages. And I hope that comes to fruition. Now he's doing it through other means than, changing the monetary system. He's doing it through tariffs and that kind of thing, and making deals. But Harvey saw this as a real problem. And again, another example of our legislators not paying attention to what they're doing.
Well, the legislators, if you look at they're basically influenced by lobbyists. You realize that, right?
Oh yeah.
So
I realize
you
that.
mentioned before, right?
Yeah.
Now you think about it. What they've been trying to do for a long time is weaken America. That's been part of their agenda. This has been an ongoing process, Steve. So they're doing this for a reason. And you think about it, they use their lobbyists as a means of basically making that happen. And you can see it.
Right.
Now, President Trump is about bringing back industry and is national security involved, like I spoke about, the chip makers, which is very fundamental.
Right.
Now,
It's very important.
And I explained that on the Pulse the other day. So you think about it, they've been pushing away industry, and they've been going to places like China and all these other places because they've been offered a better deal. But think about the legislators have been paid off. That's the way you got to look at it, because these lobbyists are putting money in their pockets.
Right.
You can see it.
Yeah, and it's not just. It's been that way for a long time. This happened years ago, right?
That's right, and that's why
the legislature. Yeah, this was put out in 2005. The bill, he wrote the bill in the 90s and brought it up to Congress. So
the first book that he put out was in 1996, wasn't it?
He put out, he put out a book, and then he also released the bill into the public domain on he had a website back then. And that, once that information was out there, like I said, the people in power, they couldn't unring that bell. So now we start down the line of the grifters and stuff. But so he makes a really good point, and it'll come back around into play when we start to talk about what is general welfare. The Constitution talks about promote the general welfare. Well, that's gotten really misconstrued over the years, and he talks about that in his chapters.
Well, it makes sense because it does impact the family. That was a perfect example that Harvey gave right here. How it impacts the family as far as the wages are concerned. It does. It has a ripple effect. Yeah, you can't deny it.
Right. And there's 1,400 people working at that factory here. So,
and you were just talking about one family,
just one family, and just think of it, system wide, and it's happening today. This family scenario, is very familiar in today's environment. In fact, I had an email from a lady asking me, gosh, I hope I can get to a place where, one of us can stay home, with the kids or whatever. And, it's not that people don't want to, they just don't have that choice, and that's what he was saying. It's not, the system is not set up to be prosperous, and prosperity comes in a lot of different forms. It's not just, hey, I've got a lot of money, but, having well-being of life, having safety, having security,
Makes sense.
Yep. Okay. The next one on the list, let's talk about legal plunder. Okay. Harvey talks about the federal income tax system as the most destructive fiscal policy of the last century, unconstitutional in design.
Sorry to cut you off. What page?
You're on it. You're right there. Number 2, legal plunder.
Okay, but we just so that people are reading the book.
Okay.
You got to be used to that, love.
Okay, so I'm going to read it.
Isn't it 92, 76 on the
paperback? 76. Page 76 and 92 on the Kindle. I hadn't got down to the quote yet, so that's why I'm sorry.
Okay,
it's right there. It's right there on your thing. 76 in the paperback, 92 in the Kindle.
Right, awesome.
Okay, so legal plunder, and that's what he equates the our tax system as. So what is legal plunder? Okay. There was an economist, Bastiat, in 1850, and he was the one that defined legal plunder. And he says that laws that take from some and give to others invite systemic corruption. Defined legal plunders as laws that redistribute wealth unjustly. Barnard uses this as a moral example. So yeah, bottom of page 76. Let's go to that one. Let's see what we got here. Okay. So
I just saw the words of Bastiat on page 77 on the paperback. So at the top. Did you?
Yeah. That's where I am. That's where I am.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's the quote. Participants in this system simply follow the rules. Each acts in his or her immediate best interest. This results amounts to legal plunder. But how is legal plunder to be defined? Quite simply, see if a law takes from some persons what belongs to them and gives it to other persons who it does not belong. See if that law benefits one citizen at the expense of another by doing what the citizen himself cannot do without committing a crime. So to kind of make that a little simpler, it's socialism and that kind of stuff we've been talking about for forever in this country, but I have like a flashlight, okay, and my little simple examples. Okay, so I have a flashlight. Just grab what's handy, and the government will take my flashlight and give it to Mr. Froggy, okay, and that's legal. If Mr. Froggy comes and steals my flashlight, that's illegal. Okay, so really simple. That's what legal plunder is. The taxation system has made it legal for them to do that. A lot of people will say, well, we want to help, we want to promote general welfare. Well, of course we do. Okay. People on Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, disability. America is a nation of wanting to take care of. Okay. But the concept of general welfare has gone way beyond the limitations of that. Okay. And so taxation without direct compensation violates the natural law. Just like I said, it's okay. They have legalized the taking of it, whereas if anybody else went and did it, it would be a crime, or at least used to be. So, and
what they've been doing to us is criminal anyway.
Why? Right.
Just by what you've been saying, legal plunder sounds like a bunch of pirates, which the IRS are.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. And so it speaks to the morality issue of the tax system. You can go down to the next one. This one's going to get going to the complexity and arbitrary power. Keep going down a little bit on your outline there. Okay, there you are. All right, so page 87 is, we got a couple of quotes here, but 87 is where he talks about the death of the IRS. And he says, the coroner will list overindulgence as the cause of death of the income tax. Too much of everything. Too much tax, too many clerks, bookkeepers, accountants, agents, auditors, and tax attorneys. Too complicated. Too big a drain on our productive work. Too intrusive on private lives. Too many forms. Too much power allocated to a single government agency. That too open to abuse, influenced by bureaucrats. Too likely that the special interests will receive preferential treatment. Too much daylight, finally exposing the nature of the beast to the taxpayers. What he's speaking about there is that the tax laws are so complicated. Okay. And it's a twofold sword there. The complexity of it is psychological on one level, because you can't figure it out. And because of that, you stay in fear of it. right? If you go to, let's see where my page was. It is the, okay, page 78. Everybody go to page 78 in your book, 96 in the Kindle. This is where we talk about an example of how complicated the tax system is. And so I am on page 78 in the paperback. Even if one was so inclined, tax compliance is virtually impossible. Money Magazine, in a 1991 survey, challenged 49 professional tax preparers to calculate the correct income tax for a hypothetical family. The amount that tax experts advised the family to pay ranged from $6,807 to $73,247. Only 5 of the preparers came within 10% of the purported correct figure, which was $18,724. So think about that. Okay. You've got 49 professional tax preparers. None of them hit the nail on the head. And only 5 of them came up with within 10% of what the actual number was. Right. That's how complicated it is.
Yes.
Which works again on people's psychology, right? On the next page over, page 79, workers subject to withholding think of take-home pay as their money. Income taxes deducted from their paychecks by their employer are often thought of as government money. Deductions are acts of God beyond the influence of common mortals. The best chance to recover requires getting as many free government goods and services as possible. Productive tax-paying people never regain which they have lost to the tax. For them, massive amounts of government waste and non-productive, non-tax-paying individuals who receive benefits dictate a losing game. As tax rates climb, taxpayers demand more government benefits. Additional benefits require more revenue. Tax rates climb again. Taxpayers soon begin seeking ways to reduce or avoid the levy. An underground economy grows. Eventually, the government faces a tax rebellion. When costs greatly overweigh the perceived benefits, taxpayers start dropping out of the system. IRS officials now estimate the number of non-filers at 20 million. Okay, this was in 2004, 2005, right? So you're not getting full benefit, because of the complexity and the fact that people say, well, I don't want my money spent on this, that, or the other. This is just going to go into special interest and that kind of stuff, which, I think it may harken back to a lot of the, the Doge stuff when Trump came in and said, okay, we're going to start trying to clean this up, best that we can. So,
yeah. And well, look, Doge, the reason why they're able to do things at a rapid succession, they're employing AI.
Yes.
That's the technology we're dealing with.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, and it's just it's overpowering for people to try to figure it out. And even if you trust a professional preparer, that still gives you absolutely no guarantees, right? Because they can't get it right. In fact, let me read from the where does she go? Miss Shirley. Okay, page 77. This was a lady from the IRS. She was an IRS commissioner. So page 77 in the paperback. Oh, okay. So on April 14th, 1993, Shirley Peterson, a former IRS commissioner, addressed the Southern Methodist University Tax Policy Lecture. Now, Miss Shirley Peterson was appointed by the Bush administration. So she had, she's part of the government before, I think before she, while she was, it's in 92 is when she was appointed. Okay. According to her, 8 decades of amendments and accretions to the code have produced a virtually impenetrable maze. The rules are unintelligible to most citizens, including those holding advanced degrees and including many who specialize in tax law. The rules are equally mysterious to many government employees who are charged with administrating and enforcing the tax law. Think about that. So when you call up, the people who are answering the phone can't really give you a good answer. The need for simplification is apparent from the sheer weight of the Internal Revenue Code and its regulations, which now comprise 8 volumes of fine print. You remember seeing that picture of we play on the beginning where Harvey's sitting there with all those books?
Yes, yes.
That's what he's talking about. That's the 8 volumes of fine print tax code.
Right.
Okay, so here's Miss Peterson was appointed IRS commissioner in January of 1982 by George Bush. So this is a woman who knew what she was talking about, right? And even she said at that time, it's too much. It needs to be overhauled.
Oh, look, it's if they're saying it's very complex and look, it's obviously to rot the taxpayer. It all comes down to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's disgusting. It really is.
It is. It is. There's also the case of the Benson and Beckham. Now that'll probably get more into when we get into the amendment stuff. But we were talking earlier about the 16th Amendment. These guys, went back and I've got them under this section simply because of the tax code. But they did an investigation into the 16th Amendment and who voted for it and who did it. And they found out that it wasn't exactly what people thought it was. Or actually, it probably didn't pass, but there was nothing that people could do about it. Let me see where I've got that here. Okay, page 84. Page 84.
Page 84.
And we may be skipping ahead a section here, but it just popped into my mind. So this is, people demonstrating the complexity of the code. You had Bill Conklin, which he's on the outline right there. Go up a little bit.
Keep going up or
no,
down?
no, scroll up. Okay. Keep going up.
Right here?
I'm still I'm in section 3. Okay.
Okay, so this is section 3 here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. But Bill Conklin and the IRS, his story is in the book. It's really good. It's he had them chasing their own tail. But the Benson and Beckham, the law that never was, and what they did was they had constitutional questions about the legitimacy of the income tax system. An interesting one concerns the presumed 1913 ratification of the 16th Amendment. That's what you and I were talking about.
Yes.
The so-called Income Tax Amendment. Co-authors of The Law That Never Was, Bill Benson and Red Beckham.
That's the one there, isn't it, Dee? Sorry,
yes, that's the volumes. Yeah, go ahead. Assert that the federal government's records of its ratification were falsified. Now, that's probably, I don't know how many people know that story, but what happened was they went and started an investigation. They got certified copies. I'm still on page 84, certified copies of the records. Benson went to Washington, D.C. and poked around the basement of the National Archives and probably blew the dust off some stuff and began to look around. And his research shows that 36 state endorsements were defective. Okay. In Kentucky, the state Senate, according to its official journal, voted 22-9 against the amendment. The office of the state solicitor at the State Department in Washington knew about this vote. He listed Kentucky as affirming the amendment. And so he says, well, they must not have had Sesame Street back then. That was just something that couldn't count. But U.S. attorneys and the federal courts have not looked favorably upon Benson's research. They insist it's too late to do anything about it. It's a political question. And then we get into the word was indirect tax and direct tax and that kind of stuff. But so, people have been challenging this for a while and to no avail. Why? Special interest, big money, deep pockets. So,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've got some. Would you like me to bring that up so we can explain what the 16th Amendment is?
Yeah, we can. Okay, well, I can skip over to. Okay, go to 5 on the outline when we get there. But yeah, so the 16th. Okay, the 16th Amendment.
Bring that up.
You can if you want. Okay, so. How do we get to the income tax? Let's start with that. The victory tax was passed in 1942. And it was supposed to end at the end of the war, which it did. However, prior to that, in 1943, they passed the Current Tax Payment Act, which I believe that's the 16th Amendment, right? And it, let me bring this, make withholding from wages a permanent feature of the income tax system, a legal slippery slope. Withholding was now applied not to just investments. As you remember, the victory tax was toward investments, but to wages. It made withholding from your check okay.
So,
and what I'm saying is what Benson and Beckham found out is that there were many states that did not ratify that. 36 state endorsements were defective. So,
gee.
Yeah.
The creation of the IRS was done back in Lincoln's day.
The original to raise money for.
So obviously it's to raise money for war.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now you think about it, they need an excuse, don't they?
Yeah, the Constitution allows for, gave the Congress the right to raise money. Let's see. Constitutional conflict, direct and indirect taxes. Okay, so Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the Constitution, direct taxes must be apportioned by the population among the states. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 4, no direct tax can be laid unless apportioned. Historically, income taxes on wages were considered direct taxes. Now, as you get down into, I believe it was, I can't remember the date of the bill, when that was changed, let's see, concurrent resolution 2003, April 10th, 2003, the House passed the concurrent resolution 141 without a single dissenting vote. It strongly condemned the Internal Revenue Code and recommended fundamental reform. But it made it go to lawyer politicians have a way of changing definitions of words or changing things like that. So it became an indirect tax. And I don't know what person would consider you taking money out of my paycheck an indirect tax. To me, that's a direct tax. So,
you know what it is too, Dee? I mean, look at it from this perspective as well. They make things so complicated for a reason, like everything else. Mm-hmm. So you just give up.
Right, exactly.
It's like, I'll just pay it.
Yeah. I've got better things to do.
At the end of the day.
Right. And then again, people don't get something like this. And there's a whole lot more information in this chapter than just what I'm just hitting the highlights, right? Yes. That you can learn about the history and about how we got here and why we're here. And people think, oh my gosh, it's going to be over my head. I'm not going to understand all that. I'll just, like you said, I'm just going to pay it. That's exactly
what they count on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's the psychological, the psychological.
Well, it's the legal
belief.
system.
They make you think that that's your only way,
let me see. You know what it is? It's all the jargon that just ties you. It's like, I can't be bothered. I'll just pay it. Right. That's how it is.
People, hardworking people are out there working hard. Right. And so, their time is limited as it is. And
agreed.
They can't, go against it. And it's become the norm. People consider when you get your check, you have take home pay, right? So that's my money. And what is taken out is now considered government money. And that's the psychological approach. And so you never consider it yours to begin with. He's flipping the script on that. And he's saying, no, that's not the way it should be. Right? A consumption-based tax means you get to, you have some say-so over when you pay and what you pay. And enough money can be generated from that consumption-based tax to support all those things, as we'll show later. When a lot of people ask me about Social Security and disability, yeah, that's all okay. It's all safe. So I've got a little something on that to show them later. There's another section I have in the outline that is important too for people to understand. It's the hidden cost of taxation. That's on page 88. And taxes, especially when it comes to corporate taxes, which Harvey's bill eliminates, there's a hidden cost. Okay, so that's all passed down, right? And so on page 88, top of the page, do I have a Kindle?
It's over here, darling. 94.
Yeah.
Right
Okay.
here.
Okay. The American taxpayers, more than those of any other nation, willingly pay their proportionate share for a job well done. Conversely, they absolutely despise fraud, waste, and abuse. Had taxpayer realized the true nature of the system, the income tax would have died long ago. Harvey gives an example, just a little short paragraph of this girl buying a car. So let me read that to you. Consider the plight of a worker in an automobile manufacturing plant. Assume that $6,000 of income is withheld from her pay annually. She did not get the money, nor did her employer. The government took it. From the manufacturer's point of view, that tax was a labor expense included in the price of the car. From her point of view, as she buys that car from the local dealer, she pays the tax again, plus its collection cost. In other words, people that have to work in an office to make sure that tax is collected, right? Hidden in the price. On the second occasion, she probably borrows the money and pays interest on the loan. This will be one unhappy citizen when she finally realizes that she's paying interest on money borrowed to pay for the collection of a tax she already paid.
How insane is this?
That's
insanity.
It is, but
when you break it down.
When you break it down that simple, that's what's happening, right? And it's just become so normal part of we don't really look at it and see it that way. But in Harvey's consumption-based tax, there's no corporate tax. There's no capital gains tax. And some raw materials, not all, but some raw materials would to produce these things would not be taxed. So again, that trickles down to the final price. Right? And so, and then it's, it's up to us to make sure that, people like to yell and scream at big corporations about gouging, that kind of stuff. Well, that's a consumer thing. You have to be discerning, and you have to know what you're buying and analyze the cost of it. Yeah.
And that's the thing. People just, okay, like you think about this, right? So you know what it's like there, right? So you work hard, whatever, and it's like, you got the nose to the grindstone, and it's all been done by design. So they want to keep you busy. They want to keep you a slave, a debt slave, right? Because that way you become tired, and all you want to think about is getting to the weekend and having some rest, right? And you don't want to think about all the other, about all these things. And you just say, I'm just going to pay it. You know what I mean? And that's the mentality of people. People feel defeated.
Right.
The majority of people, it's only a small minority that sort of stand up or do what they have to do. But the majority all feel defeated.
Yeah. And it's too overwhelming for them to, they feel like they can't take it on their own or whatever. And you shouldn't have to. This is a we thing. This is not a one person thing. This is a we thing. And to change a monetary policy and fiscal policy of an entire country takes the people, but that's why you got to be very educated about it. So, but he makes some really good points here in this chapter about, why the income tax should not be here. And so, I'll run through this pretty quick, but it's, this is not in your outline. This is just some of my notes. So you put a pretty picture up there if you want. So there are three cases that he makes, and I use the rule of three on this. The historical precedent, the systemic dysfunction, and the moral and practical alternatives. Okay. And we hadn't even discussed the alternatives yet, but we'll get to that in just a minute. The historical precedent, okay, is the victory tax, which was a temporary wartime measure. Withholding from paychecks became permanent. The Constitution was designed to prevent direct, unapportioned, taxes on wages, Article 1, Section 2. But this line was blurred by the use of the language, direct tax, indirect tax. Right? The history shows how temporary taxation structures morph into permanent systems, eroding the constitutional protections. You see where I'm going there with that? I mean, it's just been systematic over until what we're talking about. People
Yes.
feel defeated and they say, I can't do anything about it. If we don't reform, history repeats. Temporary taxes become entrenched and exceptions become the rule. Right? Systematic dysfunction. When we talked about this in the previous chapter, okay? Compound interest, deficit financing, and debt cycles. Okay, this is part of the system. The IRS system of income taxation is expensive to enforce, vulnerable to loopholes, punishes productivity while still failing to stabilize the debt. You say, we're not getting ahead on our debt. We're not even making enough to break even. All right. Again, back to what we're spending our money on, and then there's the point of, God, I can't remember who did that. I think it was the Keynesian revolution in the 1930s. It's in the outline, but I'll tell you about it real quick. I have to say it right. It's Keynes. In the 1930s and 40s, argued for deficit spending in depressions, but also for surpluses during booms. This widely adopted, but politicians ignored Keynes, calling for surpluses in good times. So what I'm saying here is what his philosophy was that it's okay to get in debt in hard times. What's not okay, but when you're ahead, you need to take care of those debts. Okay, pretty much basic budget balancing for anybody, right? Okay, I'm going to go use my credit card, but as soon as I'm back on my feet, I'm going to pay that off. Even if it didn't have compound interest, you would still do that, right? What's problem is that lawmakers didn't like the second part of that idea. They forgot about, hey, we got to take care of this when we have a surplus. So chronic deficit spending undermined fiscal responsibility. They just kept going back to the well, Yeah, you've got it up on the screen right there. Yeah. So again, systematic.
That's the key word right there. You're saying systematic. Systematic in the sense designed to fail, right? And designed to enrich certain, shall we say, the swamp. Like your dad said about draining the swamp. Yeah. It's enriching the swamp.
Yeah, the lawyer politicians who make the rules and their code is we do whatever we can get away with. Harvey actually says that in the book.
Yes.
That's my rule. If I can get away with it, then that's what we're going to do. And by means of changing definitions or kind of saying, well, this is a gray area, so we're gonna take this and run with it, And before you know it, it's just the way things are.
Well, you think about it, lawyer politicians, right? The majority of these lawmakers are lawyers. They got, that's what they've been doing. Now, the law is basically based on, as you said, all these, they know the loopholes, they know everything about it, they know the tricks. That's why President Trump says it takes the outsider.
Right.
Because he's not a lawyer, and he certainly wasn't a politician. He knows, what the game is. And he surrounded himself with lawyers that basically advising him on all these. So he's working within the realms of their system that they've created, and he's bringing it down from within. What do you think, Dee?
I think so. I agree. Yeah, it had to, and they can't control him. And that's what's always been the magic about him is they can't, they don't have anything on him. They can't make him conform. And therefore, they talk about existential threat. Well, to them, he is, because he's a threat to their way of doing things.
Well,
The way
you
it's
can't be
always
bought.
been. That's right. I'm saying they can't buy him. They can't, they've tried for how long now to hoax him and ruin him and all that kind of stuff. But he stood firm. And so, yeah, you have to have an outsider, a populist candidate that can actually stand up to them. Because what happens to a lot, I've always said, people run for local elections and then they may hold a state office and they have great ideas and they're full of passion and they get elected to a federal office. Something happens when they cross that line into DC. It's like, I don't know, do they pull them aside in the room and say, okay, this is what you're doing? Because it's just a complete change.
Well,
Complete change.
Well, look at it. You got to look at the leaders, right? And their history. So what I do is I look at the money. The money defines everything.
Yeah.
So you look at, say, Bill Clinton. Before Bill Clinton, became president, he was worth less than $1 million. The same thing with Obama and all these things. Now, Obama was an unknown, right? He was an unknown.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself the question, and I know this, that he was basically groomed for that role.
Yeah.
And he was put in place by, and I've explained it, by Saudi Arabia, Prince Al-Walid. He was the one that put him through Harvard University and all that. And look at, George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, skull and bones. Or do you think that's all a coincidence? You know what I mean?
No, I don't think it's a coincidence. But you get up there and you're in that world now. And if you want to get anything done, you have to negotiate. And usually that negotiation, unfortunately, means turning your back on what you promised to do when you got there, because that's not in line with the system.
Or, you have to be corruptible. That's what
right.
it is.
Right. Or you have to be uncorruptible like President Trump is.
Well, think about this. Bill Clinton, Obama and all that were worth less than $1 million after multi-millionaires, right? And they all seem to be doing well with books. You know what I mean? Everyone, all of a sudden, they become books, authors. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, from their books, they're making millions and millions of dollars. That's why when we talk about that, follow the money. It's a slush fund.
Yeah.
That's what it is. How do we get money from point A to point B? And this is draining the swamp, right? And you think about it. So they've given in. They've made their money by selling out the people, basically. President Trump was a billionaire to begin with in the first place. So therefore, he cannot be bought, right?
Yeah.
Can't. He cannot be bought. And especially his morals. You look at what he's like as a person previously. He's consistent. His character has been consistent.
Yeah.
Right? Now, have a look. He's basically lost money, not gained money. Yeah. I've got all the statistics and everything, D. And he did things on his own dime. He's the only president that hasn't taken money as a salary from the American people.
Yeah.
He has to take $1 or something like that.
Yeah, that is something technical like that. But
technical, yeah. So and then he puts things he wants to. He's paying for the ballroom, and he's using people to pay, not the people, as in the people. He's using sponsors. He's also, the Rose Garden. He did all that. He's been doing things on his own dime. The flag post, installing national pride, all on his own money. Whichever president has ever done what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. And so again, that makes it takes an outsider to come in and shake up the system. So if there was ever a time, now's the time to let him and his administration know, we're here. We want a new monetary and fiscal policy. And again, I've drawn several parallels from what Harvey had in his book to what President Trump is doing. Little different methods, but there's a lot of paths to get there. In fact, I was telling you during the week, chapter 8. I know it's kind of weird to jump to another chapter in the book, but I was rereading that and it hit me. I said, it's as if Harvey had a crystal ball sitting in front of him. And he took what was going on at the Times, which is in 2004 when he was compiling all of this, and projected it out into the future. And it couldn't be more spot on. And so yeah, I'd like to dig into that one a little bit, and so people could see how this progression has happened exactly as predicted, and how President Trump is attacking some of these things on different levels.
Yes.
Yeah, I got to be pretty good. But
definitely.
Harvey offers alternatives. Okay, so we've been talking about his taxation plan. There was a couple of alternatives. If you want to go back to the outline, we'll go down to the alternative national sales tax, section 6.
Keep going down.
Yeah, keep going down. Keep on going. All right, right there. Okay. Yeah, you got it right there. Okay, so page 92 in the paperback, 105 in the Kindle. So Harvey talks about an alternative, obviously. National sales tax proposes a simpler, visible, and efficient compared to both income and European VAT tax. Okay. Advocates for replacing all income taxes based with a transparent sales tax. Now is the time to replace all types of federal income taxes with a single uniform national sales tax. Now, he does talk about, the British example in 1815. What happened there was British abolished the income tax post-Napoleonic Wars. And what happened was their country prospered. Okay. Abolishing the income tax led to decades of prosperity during the Industrial Revolution. Okay. Now, reinstating it later coincide with economic decline and imperial contraction. So, there's a real life example of this is what happens to us when we remove the income tax.
Yes.
The VAT tax. Now, I'm not as well versed in the VAT tax. You may have more information on that than I do. But it's introduced when income tax revolts grew. And as I understand, that's a value added tax, which always gets higher and higher as time goes by.
So
Again,
what I've got here is
we have on the
VAT tax stands for value added tax. Value added tax.
Mhm.
Now, it's an additional tax on imported goods. So when you import something,
Mhm.
it's basically they add the VAT tax to it,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
So is it like tariffs, would you say?
Yeah, it would seem to be. Yeah. Mhm.
But
And I
tariffs
probably
is-
should have done a deeper dive on the VAT tax because I'm not,
Sure.
not up to speed on what that means, but I'm sure someone in the audience is, so they could probably give us a whole rundown
So
on the actual inner
it's
workings.
known as a consumption tax on the value added to nearly all goods and services brought in and sold. So brought in
Okay.
and sold into. Okay, so it's basically a tax, a consumption tax. It's not tariffs.
Mm-hmm. But it's a
You know what I'm
tax they
saying?
add before it's sold, so it is kind of a consumption tax.
Yes.
So again, that gives buyers choices. You don't have to buy it if depending on what's taxed, of course. Some things are necessities, which is another thing about Harvey's plan. There are things that are not taxed. In fact, I don't know if he's still with us or not, but there was a question in the chat early on. A gentleman was asking about past medical debt. And he said, will that be eliminated? I was told that. And I said, I thought, I need to answer him. I said, no, not under Harvey's bill. That's a past bill. Now going forward, there would be no tax on medical services or medical products. Okay. But if it's a past bill, then that's something that does not cover it.
I just want to really speak really quickly about the VAT
Okay.
tax, right? You got my interest on that one, right? U.S. citizen only pays VAT when in Europe.
Okay.
or another country with a value-added tax.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you only pay
Okay.
the VAT tax.
Okay.
There you go. It's very
Yeah,
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is interesting. And so that was, that's an alternative. And so there's lots of different ways, other than the income tax. And that's the point Harvey was trying to make. There's other methods for a fair taxation system.
Yes.
Now, of course, I think his is probably more fair than any because it helps lower income people across the board, rent, food, medical procedures and stuff that's not taxed, and lower income people, that's where they're spending their money mostly.
The tariffs that actually is benefiting the people. It's all right. So that you got taxes, like income tax doesn't benefit the people, right? It benefits the swamp. Right?
It does, yeah. It benefits the swamp and the special interest, right? And as we've talked about that, the Social Security money and all that kind of stuff, as I understand it, has long since been used up, and so now they're sucking, from other places. But no, the consumption-based tax, the way he had it figured at 14%, there would be enough money to support the legitimate general welfare services that people need. Again, back to Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and disability, some other programs that Americans agree are worthwhile to have, right? But would cut out special interest and vote buying, stuff like that.
I've got a question for you, Dee.
Okay, try to answer it.
Okay, let me fire away. Did Harvey ever speak about the dangers of the government shutting down due to the increase of debt?
I don't know that he spoke about it, but I'm sure that would be something that he probably would have addressed. At a certain point, you have to declare bankruptcy, right? I mean, you can't. It's a system that cannot. It's not sustainable, and so that's one of the things he pointed out. The income tax system is not sustainable long term. Eventually, you get, to where you can't support it anymore. Especially if you're going to allow special interest and all this kind of stuff to eat up what you're collecting, and the cost that it takes to collect that money, right, is astronomical.
Well, when you look at the past, right? So President Trump talks about what was his name? It's on the top of my head. The president during the time that was doing the tariffs, right? And he said ever since he was doing the tariffs, the country was rich.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
McKinley,
right.
Isn't it? McKinley. Is it McKinley? President McKinley?
Oh, that did tariffs?
Yes, he was known as the tariffs king. I think it was President McKinley.
I think it was
memory.
too. I think it was too.
Let me just confirm it.
Check on that because I won't.
Yeah, I think it was President McKinley.
Make sure that we're right.
Yeah, no, I'd like to give out correct information.
Me too. So check.
Yeah, William McKinley. I was correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So President William McKinley was the 25th president of the United States of America. Now, he keeps saying he was the tariff king, and when America, that was prior to 1913. He keeps saying makes parallels. He draws examples. America was rich. He goes, they didn't know what to do with all that money. So why, when something isn't broke, try to fix it? Do you know what I mean? But then there was the assassination of McKinley. Do you see how the swamp worked? It's been working
for a long time. Yeah,
for a long time. Yes.
Well, if it's making money, then it's not in their interest because it's not going directly.
It's making money, but not making those
for them
involved money that they want to be putting in their pockets. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And so, that's the way he's doing now with the tariffs, and I hope that is successful. My concern is the same thing I've always said. By having a taxation bill as law that promotes companies to do business here and to establish themselves here as a permanent law, it will protect Americans, when the pendulum swings. And, Trump and his successors, where they're doing a fantastic job, the pendulum will swing. It always does. I mean, that's based on history. And when it does, the American people are hanging on at the bottom. So if we don't have a law that supports these corporations and these companies doing business here, bringing high and paying jobs, when they're gone, then they're just going to, the new administration will revert back to the old rules and they'll take off again.
That's the swamp again.
Yeah, that's the swamp again. And so that's what I'm saying. It has to be something that is the law of the land, and I guess as tariffs move us in that direction, and I hope that something like this will, could be enacted so that we have, as the people, have protection, for our taxation system and our policies.
Well, you could see that obviously we're on the verge of a shutdown now, right? You can see it.
Yeah.
Right? You've heard about it.
Oh yeah.
And the Democrats are playing the game, which we knew it was going to happen.
Right.
Okay. Now we were talking about that. We are heading towards a financial reset. You could see it's on the horizon. We are going back to gold-backed currency. That's in the mix as well. You've been seeing that.
I've been seeing that. Yeah.
Look at the signs. I mean, look, there's countries that are stockpiling gold. And never before. And the price of gold has increased quite a bit. It certainly has. And silver as well. So they are preparing, biometallics. What did Harvey speak about?
That's right.
It's on the horizon. So, in other words, you could see that it's going to come to a crashing halt at one point. It can't sustain itself. And I'm sure Harvey would agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
Oh, yeah. And like I said before, he could. If he were alive today, he could not believe that we have as a nation, let it go this far.
Well, maybe that's the way it's got to go in order to bring this whole system down. Because remember what President Trump said, I'm going to write that little
piece of paper and I'm going to pay in crypto. Here you go.
Exactly.
I just love that.
I can't. It's funny, isn't it?
It is. It's funny. It is funny. And, but he's got a good sense of humor like that.
But you think about what he's saying, Dee. So in other words, debts are just zeros and ones, right? It's just zeros and ones. So it can be easily eliminated. Now, Harvey obviously knew about the fiat currency system, how it worked, and the need to go back to biometallics. Now, JFK was talking about that as well. Remember back in the day about silver.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense to me.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. And while, again, after he rang that bell in 1996 and put the bill out in the public domain, they couldn't do anything about it. And I'm talking about the swamp. So, then they back to discredit. And we were talking about the dove of oneness. I will always wonder, was she part of the playbook, or was she just someone who figured out on her own that she could make money off of this? Because they couldn't, this is such a great proposal, totally backed up everything. And so why would not the American people want to do this? Well, they can't if they think it's fringe. Oh, what, you got the price of gold up there?
Yeah, I've got the price of gold. So look, it's increased.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see it's going up and up and up.
That's incredible.
I can see that the writings are on the wall, Dee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also the price of silver as well. Look at that.
Wow.
So it's definitely on the increase. So,
So following suit, he's President Trump's used so many, like I said, maybe a little bit different methods, but the principles are still the same that Harvey laid out. So if people want to, what's on the horizon, get the book and read it, and you'll be in the know, I guess is what I'm saying. You'll have an idea of the why and the need for the change.
Yes, definitely needs to change it now. We knew, in 1913, President Trump speaks a lot about that. I mean, are you ready to speak about that, or you want to speak about that a little bit later?
Yeah, we can talk about whatever you want to.
Okay, because I want to go back to the conception of this whole creation Now, what did they use the IRS? What was the income tax? It was created basically back in the day of Lincoln, right? So we got it right here. Let me bring that up and we can talk about that. Think about Civil War. It needed to be funded, didn't it?
Right.
So when the war was over, why didn't they stop it? They obviously, then they, the tariffs, I think when was McKinley? When did he take over? McKinley was during what era? I think it was in the 1800s, late 1800s, wasn't he? Let me just go to that one.
Yeah.
Just so we can tie in the timelines.
Okay.
So McKinley, he was the 25th president from 1897 to 1901. Okay. So you could see, so obviously when McKinley came in, he changed things. He went to the tariff-based system and he got rid of that system. Right? That's why America was doing great. Now, 1913, 16th Amendment, that was when it was ratified.
Yes.
Right? So in 1913. Now, what also was created in 1913, D, was the Fed.
Was the Fed.
Coincidence? They don't exist.
Right.
Now, you think about this. President Trump speaks about this frequently. We were rich before 1913. He's obviously telling us about the Fed, and he's obviously letting us know about the IRS. Yeah. Now, the 16th Amendment, that's how they got around it. That's how they put it into the Constitution, didn't they? So that's how they okayed it.
Right. That's back to the legal plunder. Okay. So they're taking from you and giving it to themselves or who,
To go into the 16th Amendment, it has to go through Congress, doesn't it? So in other words, they knew what they were doing.
Right. And that's like back to the Beckham and Benson case, when they went back and studied it and said, wait a minute, the 16th Amendment, had problems with it. They found some of the documents were falsified.
Well, you made an example beforehand. You said when there was no income tax about the British, they were rich. They were, better off. The moment they implemented it, it was like they went into a sort of depression. Well, the Great Depression, look at that. Yeah. Think about it from this perspective. The same thing.
It's a mirror
1913,
image. Yeah.
That was implemented. Then not long after that, you had the Great Depression. You can see the writings on the wall right there. It makes perfect sense.
It does. Yeah.
And they've been doing this ever since. That's the thing. Now, that's in the Q drops as well, D.
Is it? Okay.
Let's go to Q drop 138.
Yeah,
you want to read that for me?
Sure. The Fed and the IRS. Fact. U.S. Federal Reserve is a privately owned company sitting on its very own patch of land, immune to the U.S. laws. Yep. I know that.
Yes. Now, another thing we need to get, and it's a very valid point. Someone said in the chat, DK Chapman, the 16th Amendment was not lawfully amended. Now, you got to get, basically, you got to get there's a different term. There's lawful and unlawful. There's legal and illegal. Illegal. The illegal system was developed by the swamp, or when you were calling the deep state, whatever. They're the ones that developed this whole system. Lawful and unlawful, you're talking about the law of the land. That's what President Trump talks about, proper laws. That's what he's getting back to. Okay. Now, that's, you heard the legalese, that's their language that they use. So it's all to do with terminology, how they get away with things. Just like this, how they get away with this, they put themselves on a patch of land that's immune to the U.S. laws. For example, Puerto Rico, right? That's what they call, and I've got that little thing there as well. Puerto Rico is not a state. It's a territory, just like Washington, D.C. Okay, but it's an unincorporated territory. That's all been done by design. So that way they're able to use that particular way of getting, not being susceptible to the US laws. You know what I mean?
Right.
Does it make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
So you got that. And then Q drop 4962. You want to read that one?
Okay. You got to blow it up a little bit.
Okay. I'll bring that up there.
Okay. Who are the silent thieves? Why are they manipulating you? How are they stealing your wealth? Bubble, crash, steal, lie, repeat. What is inflation? Monetary manipulation. Taxation without representation. Put an end to the endless 1913. Yeah.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It makes perfect sense. And that's exactly what he's referring to, and that's exactly what Harvey was talking about.
So whatever's happening right now, I could see Harvey's work right through the tapestry.
It is. And the more we dig into it and the more it's time has come. So
yes, it certainly has.
Yeah.
And once this is all done,
yeah,
I think a statue would be lovely.
Oh, a statue of Harvey, that would be great. I would be honored.
That'd be lovely.
That's one of the things I wanted, after seeing all this grift, and it's just more than I ever thought, to have his name redeemed, vindicated. Yeah. Is the greatest gift to me. And, so that's, and again, and having the monetary and fiscal policies of this country change is monumental, and it's great, for everybody. And he always said, whether Nesara becomes law or not, if a copy of it makes it to the halls of Congress and people actually discuss it on its merit, then we will have, made some progress. Didn't realize it's going to be just such a hard road to actually get it there.
Well, everything is possible. And
anything is possible.
I'm sure. Possible. Don't you worry. They've read it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have no doubt about that. So,
you can see through the tapestry right now what's going on.
And the more you read the book, and for those of y'all out there that got it, I know that you're on the same page with us. But it's just all woven in there. And it's a lot of fun to kind of see, how long ago this was that he laid all this out for us. So.
How's your mum going?
She's doing fine.
Did she watch the show?
I don't know if she's seen it yet or not. I think she's seen parts of it. So she has a little weird schedule, but I've told her all about us, and I told her that want to do an interview. And so I don't know if we'll do a pre-recorded and then just add it to the show probably. So, how about a list of questions? Okay. So maybe the audience, you can come up with a list of questions that you want me to ask her. Drop me an email, and we'll start compiling that. And speaking of questions, I have something I'm just totally off the subject, but on our Facebook page, I set up a little survey. If you go to our Facebook page, it's right at the top, and it's questions about Nesara, like how did you learn about it and all this kind of stuff. And it asks some questions. And so I'm gauging not only interest, but knowledge. And so if you go and just take this, or you can leave your email address, you don't have to. Okay. You don't have to. You can just take it, and the numbers will be counted. And we'll look at it and I'll show you some percentages. I think that would be kind of interesting.
Okay, let me just show the folks the Facebook page.
You want to see it? Okay, you got it. Because I can bring it up real quick if you want. So
you can bring it, or you want me to bring it?
You can go ahead. You're already tapped into the screen share. So
let me just bring that up.
Me and pressing the buttons, I may disconnect us or something.
Okay. Just give me a sec, D. Is that okay? I'm going to go through your website just so.
Yeah, that's the best way to go. Go down to the bottom.
So everyone get used to the website.
Yeah, get to the website down at the bottom, Facebook page.
Okay, Nesara Institute. .com. Is it .com? It is, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. I got it. I'm here.
Okay.
Rightio, guys. So we're here now. Now have a look at this. So we go down the bottom. And I think that's where your links are, isn't it?
Yes, all the way at the bottom.
Down here. Here we go. We click on here.
Yep, Facebook page.
Now, everyone listening, I want you to join, please. Okay, we've got to support Dee's channel.
Yes. Y'all go and
Please.
subscribe on Facebook. Doesn't cost you anything. I promise.
No, it doesn't cost you anything.
It's free.
And yes, no, we've got to show our support now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
So that first featured post right there. There you go. That's just a little survey, and you can go on it, and it asks a few questions, basic questions, and all of that is compiled. It's just a simple Google form, and then it's all.
Have you heard about it? Okay. Yes. Where is it? I'm studying it in depth.
Okay. There you go.
Where did you hear from it? I heard it from my friend D.
All right.
What are your thoughts of the current U.S. monetary system? No, it's broken. That's
Okay.
what it is.
Right.
So you go on and you fill it in, guys. I might as well finish it.
You don't have to
off,
fill
know.
the whole thing in. It's just, I don't know,
Yeah.
8 or 9 questions. And again, if you leave your email, it's voluntary. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm one of these people. I will never fill up your inbox with stuff. I don't like to have it done to me. I know you probably don't like to have it done from you. If you get an email from me, it's because I'm answering one of your emails or something big is going on.
There we go. So would you be interested in learning more? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And that's
And
where you
then
can leave your
submit.
email if you want. So,
There we go. I did it.
yeah, you did it.
I did
you'll
it.
Come up.
There
on
we
the-
go.
on the little post,
If
so.
I can do it, so can you.
Oh yeah, didn't take 2 seconds. So yeah, I'd like our page, and of course that always helps. Hey, let's show the people at home the last pages. So it's kind of the
Sure.
what's in it for me thing, which is
Yeah.
a whole chapter that Harvey has about this. But I thought since we get a lot of questions that people would, like to have this information because, they're getting all this confusing, stuff.
Is
They
that
don't know what's.
which one's that?
Okay, so let me start with the national sales tax proposal, original bill.
Okay, I'm bringing that up now.
Okay, and this is what part of what I'll be generating the flyer with. Okay, so here we go. Nesara, national sales tax proposal, original bill, replaces the IRS and income taxes with the national sales tax as the sole federal tax. Again, this does not have anything to do with state taxes. I get that question a lot. We're not addressing state taxes here. This is only on a federal basis. Explicitly a consumption tax collected at the retail level designed to be straightforward and visible. In other words, you pay your tax at the cash register. Now, this restores privacy. We didn't talk about that whole lot tonight, but that's really important. And I can't drive this home enough. We have AIs in our life and your smartphones and your refrigerator now knows what you like to eat, all this kind of stuff. We have little or no privacy, especially when it comes to the IRS, and now that our information has been given over to, Palantir and these big corporations, privacy is more important than ever. A national sales tax gives you your financial privacy back. You don't have to keep your receipt to file a form later. It's done. It's over with. And people don't need to know that you ate at McDonald's 6 times this week, Keep it real. Okay. Now this is framed as an efficiency gain, less government waste, streamlined collection, lowers production cost. Okay. So that hits several topics right there. An efficiency gain, it means the money will be going in and it's at less government waste, because while the Internal Revenue Service is huge, I think in the book it was like $117 million budget or something like that. Anyway, so now that office would stay intact, but on a smaller scale, and it wouldn't be an income tax, it would be a sales tax, national sales tax collection. Okay. So it eliminates a lot of that waste. Streamlined collection, which is about that lower production cost. Okay. Again, that reflects the no corporate income tax and no capital gains tax. And emphasis on export advantages. U.S. goods become more competitive globally. Why? Because just what I said, some of the raw materials are not going to be taxed, and there's no corporate gains and I mean no capital gains and no corporate income tax. So people want to do business here, and we can export our products around the world. Nesara adds prebates for necessities so that low-income households aren't disproportionately hit. And I've said this, I've gone over this a bunch of times. Food, rent, medicine, medical supplies. There's a few other things that are non-taxable that helps lower-income people. And that's across the board. It's not, oh, you only make a certain amount, so you qualify. No, it's for everybody. Now he's got on here, explicitly rejects VAT tax requiring retail only visible. So we talked about that. Natural rights, stable money, fair taxation, personal privacy, and economic liberty. Nesara's tax proposal is framed as a part of a larger stabilization package, which remember, we talked about the Federal Reserve, the compound interest. So it's part of a whole package, right? And so that's kind of just an overall view, but I think, in the flower, we can get really specific. Now, the next one is really what people are going to be interested in, because it's how Harvey's Nesara would affect your paycheck. So jump to that one, because this is where it's the next one in line. And this
how Harvey's
Nesara would affect your paycheck.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this let people know and should answer a lot of questions. Again, that's my disclaimer. This does not take into consideration state taxes. Okay. So federal income tax, just making sure you understand. No federal income tax withholding. Under Nesara, wages, salaries, pensions, and investment earnings are not taxed at all. Employers would no longer withhold federal income taxes from your paychecks. For most people, this would mean an immediate raise in their their take-home pay, since IRS deductions are for federal taxes. Number 2, no payroll FICA deductions. Barnard's plan also abolishes the IRS and repeals payroll taxes that fund Social Security and Medicare. Instead, those programs would be funded through the new sales tax. So the FICA line on your paycheck would disappear too, adding even more back to your pay. I know you had a little thing about the FICA tax.
Yeah, I'll bring that up so we can explain it.
Yeah,
so
why don't you go ahead and
it.
talk to him? Right.
Yeah, so it's right there, Don. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
So FICA is basically Federal Insurance Contribution Act. That's the acronym, correct?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to explain how it all works?
Well, I know that they deduct a certain portion from your check, and I believe that's employer matched. It's employer matched. 6.2 and 1.45. So you give 6.2%, and the employer pays 6.2%, and that's for Social Security, and then the so
Medicaid. You pay 6.2, and the employer pays 15.3. It's got here, right here.
Well, they're going to pay what they withhold from your check plus their portion.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So they're taking 6.2% out of your check, and they're adding another portion to it, which I believe it's an equal match. And then they send that to the government. All right. So the 6.2 and the 1.45 that's coming directly out of your check, the FICA portion goes away.
So that comes out of your pay.
It does now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You have, if you want to look at a regular, and if we want to look at a regular person's paycheck, okay. So you have your federal tax deduction, which is the portion that you kind of have a little bit of control over that, simply because you fill out what is called a W-4 form when you're hired. And this tells the company that you work for, hey, I'm married and I have 3 kids, or I'm single and I don't have anybody, or whatever. And so your tax rate, the payroll system will calculate how much they think you're probably going to owe, and then they prorate that, and then that's how much comes out for your federal tax line.
FICA helps fund both Social Security and Medicare programs, which provide benefits for retirees, disabled, and children, correct?
Right, correct. Now, that's a separate line item. So you have your federal tax, then you'll have your state tax, and that tax line is however much your state rate is, or whatever, they take that out. Then you have your FICA line, and that's what this is. This is your Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare taxes.
So that's only if you're a retiree. Now, what happens if you're unemployed? How does that work?
Okay. So the way the Social Security system works now, they figure out how much you've earned from the first day you worked until the last day you worked. So, personal example, I've been working since I was 13 years old. I've had 2 or 3 jobs
Right.
at a time, right? And I'm, knocking on the back door of retirement. Here we are, I'm at age 62. So it takes that income from all of those years and it figures out how much you're going to get a month from Social Security.
Oh, right.
Right.
So it calculates it like that. So from the moment that you work, from the very beginning to the very end,
So
and
there
then
you go.
what rate? How does it calculate the rate?
I don't know what rate Social Security.
Let's see if we can find that.
Yeah, see if you can find that out. But I do know that every year you get an 8% increase. Okay, so that's called the cost of living increase. Does that really equal the cost of living? Not when inflation's this high, but that's kind of the way the program works. For people who don't work, you asked about unemployed. So for people who don't work, then you don't have any income to show for that year. So therefore, your payout would be less. It's based on how much you earned. Okay. So say someone who is earning a lot of money every year or even cumulatively, their Social Security, so their monthly Social Security check will be high. Someone who over their lifetime did not earn as much, theirs will be at a lower rate. And then you can take it at different times. You can take I believe the earliest you can start taking it is 62, I believe. And but you'll take it at a lower amount. The longer you wait, the higher that monthly amount will go up. And then I believe there's a mandatory age.
That's the example that I got.
Okay, so let me read this. The rate based on the employment in the USA is 6.2, paid by both employers and employers for a total of 12.4%. Yep, that's what I was saying, half and half, up to a certain wage-based limit for which is 176.1 in 2025. So that's how much you can earn before they.
So they calculate it, all right, and just say, right, let's throw a number out there. Let's do an example, right?
Okay.
So just say 2 million, for example. Just be,
Okay. So is that an annual? Are you saying
So
that?
is it annual? Is that how it works? Okay. I
Yeah.
thought it's the entire amount.
No. This is what you're reading right here is the FICA line, right? Okay. So up to 176,000, 176,100 in 2025. Self-employed individuals pay the entire 12.4. So I believe that, if you make more than that, I don't think they take out any more.
So, okay. For example, you've been working, say, on X amount of years. Is that what they calculate on the years to be able to determine?
This, what you're reading right
I'm
here
trying to
is
work out a formula.
okay. So this right here is what they take out every check. In other words, 6.2%.
Right.
Okay. And 1.45% for the Medicare. And if I'm reading this correctly, and somebody in the audience may be able to correct me on this, I'm sure they can. Do they stop deducting that 6.2% if you reach the annual income of 176.1? Well, what it says wage-based
Up
limit.
to certain wage-based limit, which
Right,
is
that's what I don't- yeah,
176,100 in
I'm
2025.
Right.
So obviously
clear on
there's a
what that
cutoff,
is.
isn't there?
That may be, but that's just when they stop taking it out. Now, that is not what you and I were talking about, which is how much you're going to get per month when you retire. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
They're
that's
going to
right.
add up
Different.
all of your income and then, they base that on your monthly amount on how much you've earned.
Yeah.
So, and that is a lifetime thing. So again, some people go early, some people go late, just depending, because every year you wait, your amount goes up. And then once you take it, you do get an 8% increase every year.
I wonder if people, say these people that become unemployed, do they actually do their calculations to make sure they're not getting stiffed by the government?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. Yeah, that's an interesting question to figure out. Well, I mean, you can go for people. You have your own Social Security account, and you can sign up and see where you are in that progression. When you start to prepare for retirement, like my husband and I, that was one of the first things we did. We had to go and see, okay, where are we? How much are we going to get per month? And factor that into our cash flow for our retirement plan.
Right. Okay. So that's where you're talking about the FICA, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. That's Social Security.
401ks is
that's separate.
That's a separate
personal
thing.
investment. That's a personal investment.
Right.
So some employers offer a 401k plan where the employer puts in some and you put in some. Okay.
How they contribute, you
Right.
contribute. Yes,
Right.
yes.
And then, of course, you can just go out and open a 401k and make contributions yourself. But that's not now. The only difference between that is what kind of 401k is it, and when do you take your deductions? If it's a Roth, is the tax already been paid? Because if it's not, then when you take that money out, you're going to pay taxes on it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a separate thing that gets calculated, right?
Yes.
Later on.
Yeah, I mean, this percentage is coming out of your paycheck. Your FICA your FICA line comes out of your paycheck every week or bi-weekly or monthly, however you're paid. What Harvey's saying is that goes away. That money goes back into your check. Okay.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. So they quit taking that out, right? But you're still going to get your Social Security. It's just going to be figured, it'll be supported by the national sales tax.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. So number 3, the trade-off sales tax at purchase. Instead of losing part of your paycheck to taxes, you'll get to keep it. But you pay a national sales tax when you spend money. Barnard calculated a flat 14% retail sales tax on new goods, services, and not used items. And there's a complete detailed list in the book. Would replace the revenue lost from income and payroll taxes. Essential goods, and we've talked about this 100 times, the medicine, food, and rent. So what he's saying is it's not coming out of your check. You have your money back. You can now decide what to spend it on, and that's when you pay your tax.
We're riling up the chat. You realize?
We're what?
People are getting riled up. It's like, no, calm down. We're going to have question time. Don't you worry.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because they're all like, I get it. We've all been stiffed.
Oh, okay. Oops. So yeah, you have such a diverse audience. And so I don't know, are they in America? Are they in different countries?
Look,
so some of them may not understand this tax system because they're not from America.
You think about this, love, right? It all affects us. Everything affects us.
It does. It affects everybody. But yeah.
Well, that's it. So, income tax is the same. It just different name. Do you know what I mean? Different things. It's just the same mechanisms, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know like I said, in other countries, how they label it on your paycheck. But here's some numbers. Number 4, impact in numbers. Today's IRS plus FICA system, after 20 to 25% withheld, they might take home $2,250 to $2,400. Okay. Under Nesara, they take home their full $3,000. So what he's saying, he says, let's suppose somebody earns $3,000 a month gross. Under the current system, they're pulling away 20 or 25%, which gives you somewhere between $2,250 and $2,400 take home. We talked about this take home, and that's the government's money. Okay, so now you get your whole $3,000. Again, disclaimer: this is not including state taxes. When they spend 14% sales tax, you think that's funny?
Okay. It's a sad state of affairs. Really.
Well, I'm just trying to I want to be honest and upfront. So, again, you get to pick what you want to buy, and initially, things are going to go up, but after these taxes, and especially the retail taxes, goods and services, comes down because they're not passing all of these hidden taxes down to the consumer. It levels the playing field out, right? And again, people are getting a break on the essentials. And that's where we get to the psychological and behavioral effects. Everything has psychological and behavioral effects. Paychecks would feel bigger. giving workers a sense of financial empowerment, which it does. But the tax is shifted spending and encouraging savings and investment rather than consumption. So, in other words, you're paying your tax at the register, and you're also not getting penalized on savings. Like right now, you put money in a savings account or a CD or investment fund or something like that. The money you earn on that, you've got to pay taxes on that. Okay. That's capital gains. That there's no capital gains tax. So it encourages people to invest and save. So this is one of Barnard's main goals, aligning taxation with economic productivity and personal choice. With Nesara, your paycheck would show no tax deduction for federal income tax or Social Security, Medicaid. You get the full gross pay. Trade-off is that when you spend money, go to the register. So that gives people an idea of exactly what would happen to their paycheck, at least here in the United States. So,
yeah.
Now the other slide we had, and it's just it was just a more particular. What we just discussed it, but you can put the slide up there anyway, so people can kind of see it. It was current IRS FICA system compared to the national sales tax, and this is talking about the bottom line, which was Nesara keeps Social Security and disability intact, eliminates payroll taxes. That's it. Through national sales tax, bigger paychecks for workers, stronger protection for retirees. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So, and I hope that answers a lot of people's questions. So.
I'm sure they've got lots of questions for you.
Sure
you realize that?
I'm sure they do.
Would you like to open it up? What do you think?
Sure, go ahead. And, I'll take questions.
Okay, here we go, guys. So now is your opportunity, because I know you've been bombarding the chat with all these different statements and questions and all that. And what I want everybody to do is, number one, put a Q next to your question so we know we can flag it for being a question. So now's your opportunity to please, do that so we can easily find your question. All right. And we don't bite, we don't bite. The thing is, at the end of the day, what we're doing is bringing out the real truth to empower people with the real truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what we're
yes,
trying
that's
to
all
do.
I want to do. And again, if I don't know, I say I don't know. I'm not an economist. I'm a lowly bookkeeper.
Oh, no,
wanted to be a
little
zookeeper.
Disclaimer for you next to it.
Yeah, wanted to be a zookeeper, ended up being a bookkeeper. How's that? So, there was a question there. Let's see.
Oh, no. Carol said, please put a Q.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, in front of your question. We don't put the little disclaimers and make up fairy tales. No, we don't do that at all, And once again, Dee, we can just go through while we're waiting. If we can just go through and explain what people can do, they can email you there.
Oh, yeah. They can email me there. Of course, you can go to the website. You probably had that up a minute ago. That's where you're going to find that interview, the full interview that FC had up in the beginning of the show that Harvey did. It's really fascinating. And our links are there. You can get a copy of the book there. The online version, Kindle and Barnes & Noble. Those links are there, and also Amazon paperback. And while we're waiting, I'll tell people about the hardback story.
Yes.
Okay. Before I kind of jump back into this game, that's okay. Jump back into the game. Can you do that if I take a bathroom break?
Yeah, I need to. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm doing mine.
No fair.
I'll be back. Or do you want to go first?
No, I'm going to talk to him about the hardback.
All right, I'll be back
in a minute. Okay, all right. So when I first got back into this game, really, it was just a haphazardly. My husband showed me a picture, and he said, "Is this your father's book?" And I said, "Yes, it is." He said, "They're selling it on eBay for $800." And I said, "Well, that's crazy." And of course, he asked, "Oh, you got any more of those books?" And I said, "No, wait a minute, hold on." But I asked my mom, and she did. And I said, "Okay." It took some prodding from them. I really wasn't sure about it, but I said, "Okay, I'll sell them." Only child, only heir, whatever. And but I'm not going to sell them for $800. I'm going to sell them for $300 because they are the last of their kind. I will never print or authorize to be printed another hardback copy. We still have a few left, and we do sell them on eBay. Okay. From there, I kept getting requests, said, please, 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 please put this out on a paperback or a Kindle format, because everybody has to have it. I was really surprised as we got orders from around the world, Australia, the UK, the Orient, Canada, just, all over. And so I knew there were people out there that knew Harvey's work and really appreciated, because they were very, very supportive. And through a bunch of trial and error, I finally decided, okay, and I went through the process, and I got it out in paperback. And so that's the hardback story. I will never print another one, simply because people have invested their money, and I want them to hold that value. And so there it is. But you will see people, I guess I tell you all that to tell you this. You will see people who have bought the hardback or the paperback and resell them. So if you go to my website, you're going to get my publication, and I think it's on sale right now. Amazon runs sales for us every now and then, so I think it's $37 right now, which is a bargain. So.
Awesome. Well,
My
I've got some
turn?
questions.
How about my turn?
Oh, your turn.
I'm going to the bathroom. You thought I was joking?
Oh, okay. I'll while you're doing that, I'll do a little thing. Just give me a sec
Entertain
while I
the
sort
crowd.
things around.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Rightio. So we'll let Dee, obviously go to the powder room and, do the makeup, whatever. Now, guys, let me speak to you about something. So I've spoken about this on the Kraken. Okay, and let me just run through HR 25, right? So HR 25 is a bill to abolish the IRS. However, there is a little, shall we say, hidden Trojan horse in there somewhere. Okay, so here we go, guys. Let's have a look, shall we? Here we go. State sales tax example. So we've got an example of state sales tax. They've included that in the bill. So they haven't taken it out. They've included it. So what happens is, they abolish the IRS, and you still got your national sales tax of 23%. But you've also got the state sales tax example of 7%. So what happens is, in the HR 25, they've still got this component. So they'll put that component in, the 23% national sales tax. But they haven't removed the state sales tax. So you go 7 plus 23 equals 30%. So on a purchase item of $100, you're going to add an extra $30 on top. Dee's back. That was quick, Dee.
I'm quick.
What did you think of that one?
What, the HR 25?
Yes. That was a good example, isn't it? No, I don't like it either. But
That's a great example. And so there, it brings into the picture the state tax question, and that's how they arrive at a 30. And I think you and I have talked about this before. Each state over here in the United States has their own rate. There you go. You got your map.
Let's find where you are, Dee.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm in the swamp. So we're 10%. Okay, so 23. That's add 10 instead of 7, right?
That's right.
So it's varying, and I don't know how that would play out. Again, that's why we learn this, and we go to our representatives and say, this is what we want.
You can go, what is it, say 10% plus, say, on an item of, say, $100, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to be paying, what was the other one, 7%? What did that work out to be? So 7 plus...
It's 30%. So for every $100, you're going to pay $30 in taxes. 33%,
right? Isn't it?
Yeah. And so... That's 33% if you're in a state that has a 10%, right? So that's what Harvey was saying. It was like if you listen to that interview, he talks about that specifically.
So if you add 33%, you get hold on.
For every $100, yeah.
Yes, you get, it's pretty simple maths, 133.
Right.
Yeah. Not too happy.
Not too happy.
But look at that. I mean, look, you got 10.
Yeah.
Who else is the high paying? You are.
We are. We have pretty high sales tax down here. I'm not sure why, but that's the way we are. Now you see,
Oh,
you have some people blacked out, and that's Alaska,
here.
by the way. My
Oh, is that
sister-in-law pointed-
Alaska?
yeah, the yellow. Yeah, because remember what we were saying last time, and
Yeah,
she said, it's
exactly.
Alaska. She put it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
we got some
we
questions.
don't want that. Yeah, let's get some questions going. Okay. All right, let me scroll up and let me find these questions. Okay, no statements, questions, please. All right. Read that one, D.
What? Oh, okay. What about the talk of raising retirement to age 70? It's not addressed in the bill, or in any of Harvey's work. That's something that the federal government would have to, work out on themselves. I know that there's been some talk about that, simply because they want to save money. Right now you go 62, 65, they're paying more in output in those Social Security benefits than they would if they made you wait till 70. But Harvey's and Nesara doesn't address that.
Yeah, okay. Let's go to this one here. Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll through. If I'm making funny faces, I'm just trying to find
I
it.
just realized who that was that asked that question. That's all. I know them. Okay, what we got? This planet resources, in my opinion, belongs to the people. Why isn't the profits divided worldwide? The profits from planetary resources? Is that what
planet resources is in my opinion,
belongs to the people? Why isn't the profits divided? I don't know. It's a good question. And maybe it's collectively we can come up with an answer, but it's not addressed in a monetary or fiscal policy for any nation. That's more of a collaboration between nations on how to utilize their resources. I agree with her or him or whomever, but because we only have so many resources here. We need to use them wisely.
correct. Right, okay. This one's probably for me. Does anyone know if there's a book with all the Q drops? My advice to you is go to Q Alert and see if you can find it there. Okay, go into that Q Alert website and see if you can find it there. And there's another one. There's two of them. So I use Q Alert and the other people. Sorry, I'll be very quick as possible.
Go ahead.
There's another site called, it's been a while since I've used it. It
seems like I remember someone put out a book of all of the drops. Now, I don't know if they had their own.
Oh, that's it. The other one that does it is Quag, I think it's called. QAGG. Has anyone heard of that? QAGG.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, they're another type that's out there. We'll get back to you on that one. I'll put it up in the Telegram, guys. You'll have to follow me on Telegram, and I'll make sure we put it up there. So thanks very much for that. Let's see. Well, okay, this one here. Let's try that.
I tried to connect through Dee's website. It says your submission failed because your server's error. Is there another way?
That's interesting. Try another browser as well.
Yeah, I would have to say so because I'm getting in. If you want to send your submission failed another way. So if you can, put up the email address again real quick. It's nesarainstitute@gmail.com. Send me an email and tell me what links you need, and I'll send them to you if you're having trouble.
So that's the one there, isn't it?
That's the website right there.
Is that why they're having issues getting into the website?
I think that's what she said.
Okay, so I'm in the website right now. I'm just show you guys real quickly, and I'm using a browser called Brave, which is very great. Fantastic. Don't have any issues. Mm-hmm. I recommend that you use Brave. Okay, it's right there. It's working fine.
Okay.
All right. So let's go to the next one, D. Just trying to find. Is it that one there? you know, when you can lose track of, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
no, don't worry about that question. I'm sure. Look, that there's an unspoken, shall we say? Someone said, "I'm going to show you, D."
Okay, show me.
Okay,
I'm a big girl.
because I know people
Only one
they
question.
really
Are
care
you going
about me
to remain
because, you
loyal
know,
to my brother FCB and go? Okay, wait a minute. I can't read it all. It's running off the page. Only one question. Are you going to remain loyal to my brother FCB and God's army and something?
God's plan.
Oh, God's plan.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No,
Why not?
we are loyal to each other and we have a
Yeah.
mutual respect.
Exactly.
It goes.
You know,
it's an unspoken.
We've talked about this before. You know, we're both.
Yes.
We're not getting rich doing this. We're doing this because it's in our heart. It's doing it because we want to bring the truth to people. And so, you know, there's that. That's all there is to it. What did I always tell you? I said that you own three things in this world: what you believe, your word, and your time. Okay. The rest of
Correct.
it's just window dressing, right? So as long as you're in line in those three places, you know, you can't go wrong.
Oh, I appreciate it, DK Chapman. I mean, look, they know, you know, they like, you know, there are people that I've opened my hearts and my mind to, and they've basically, you know, they've shafted me. So that's why I get it. Look, I appreciate it, you know, and, you know, we've got a mutual respect.
Yeah.
Right? We have spoken about this. So no, thank you for
that's
that,
a
DK
thumbs up.
Chapman.
So that's a thumbs up.
Awesome. So now I'm just trying, there's so many going quick. You know what I mean? Everyone's like
Good.
jumping on top, which is what we want to see, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, I
We
want to
really
see
appreciate
interest.
your
Yeah,
questions.
and look, but I'll get to your question. Like I said, drop me a
Yeah,
line.
no, it's just a matter of trying to get to them because they're all over the place. Okay, we've been through that one there. Okay, we've been through that one. I'm just going real quick as I can. Okay, I think it's this one here. Here we go. Read that one, D.
Who had Harvey's Nesara? Was it in Congress for overview? They just
Or did they shelve it?
shelved it. Okay. He went up there and he knocked on some doors. I know that he talked to many congressmen, women at the time. Specifically who, you know, I don't know. There were a couple of, because he did tell me there were a couple that were interested, and they were interested in the groups at the time that I guess would mimic the Tea Party or stuff like that, people who wanted tax reform. And so they kind of promised Harvey and his partner there, they said, okay, well, yeah, we really want to do this. This is great. We'll get behind you. So that in turn, Harvey and them would tell his supporters that, hey, yeah, we got a shot at this as a vote getting measure. Was it shelved? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't enacted. It was never presented in Congress. And I guess, you know.
What's interesting is this, that word, that phrase right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's the one using it?
There's so many members of Congress that have been there a long, long time. Right. So some of them out there somewhere probably had a copy on their shelf, you know. If they keep those, you know, I don't know what the rules are for keeping paperwork and that kind of thing, but it is theoretical. It is theoretical that some old time congressman in Washington still has it.
I can picture Grassley putting it on his. Oh, we spoke about Grassley. Remember I said I was going to remind you?
Yeah. I need to reach out to Grassley. Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, no, Grassley, trust Grassley.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I could see, I reckon if you sent him a copy, he'd love it.
I'll do that. I'll send him a copy. Yeah.
Now,
I've sent several copies up there here in the last, 6-8
months. Don't send a copy to the ones that are grifting it. You know which ones in Louisiana.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
Yeah, those entities over there, don't. You'd be wasting your time and money, especially with their paid lobbyists. Now, this one here.
Okay. Yes, the gold. Okay. Yes, the gold, the oil, everything on this planet provides for us. Why isn't the profits divided amongst the people of the world? Well, that's up to the people of the world. It's you have to collectively do that. No one person is going to say, okay, here we're gonna, everybody's gonna get an equal share of stuff. That's driven by monetary and fiscal policies, which you have to have in order to run any civilized society. That policies and procedure should be moral and fair. That's where things have gotten skewed.
Well, President Trump speaks about the sovereign wealth fund, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, it's freeing up assets and things like that. I think we've been through this before. I think
we did. I think we talked about it last time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look, President Trump is about a level playing field, being fair. That's all he wants is fairness. And he wants to help everybody. Everyone. Right. He even says the world. He wants to help everybody in the world, right? Because he is the free leader of the world. Mm-hmm. So therefore he's got a responsibility.
Right.
If you're going to have that title, you're going to have a responsibility with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, Dee?
I do. And I think theoretically, and more direct answer to the question is, in the long term, after, you always say America is the standard here. And if we fall, then the rest of the world falls. Once that's established, then good economic times for us would go around the world. And more people would be able to retain, the benefits that their region has. Not every, each region of the globe has something unique or different about it that contributes to the whole, right? And so your resources should be just as valuable as someone else's.
Okay, so that was a good answer.
Okay.
Great. Okay, let's continue on. This one here.
Speaking of statues, is that what it says? Could you please explain what the
12-foot golden statue of President Trump holding a Bitcoin is all about?
I'm confused too, so I'm going to leave that one to FCP.
That's something that I need to look into.
I know, I saw that,
is it AI?
I don't know.
Okay, so is this somewhere? Okay,
it was posted.
Where was it posted on his Truth Social?
I saw it. Let me see if I'm going to pull it up.
Because look, guys, I've been very busy trying to keep up.
I know you have. So wait a minute. I saw it. I think. I want to say it was on a Telegram post.
Oh no! If it's on a Telegram post, forget about it.
Okay, it wasn't yours. It was someone else's.
It's got to be. That's the problem when it's on someone else's. That's where the problem lies.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to, produce fax evidence and receipts to back up like everything else that they do.
Yeah.
So we need to be more specific, as in where did we find that?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Because it's just like the same deal, right? The same deal of a lot of garbage being floated around. Do you know what I mean, Dee? I'm
sorry, I'm still looking for it. There's so much that you can't trust and that you don't know where it came from. And so that's what I was I was going to ask you, and I think before the show we talked about
just type it in Trump statue.
Yeah, type it in.
Trump golden statue.
Okay,
here's Bitcoin.
Here's the post that I saw, and it's this says forwarded from Fox News. It's on a
I'm just
Telegram channel called Lost and Forbidden.
I've got it right here. Look at this. So this is the article.
Okay. Yeah, there's a link here. So I think
it's not a hoax. So this is Yahoo News, right? Obviously, it's mainstream media. Mm-hmm. Golden statue of President Trump was temporarily put up. I say that wasn't done by President Trump. That was done by others out there. right? The golden statue, there it is,
Okay.
of
There's
Trump
a-
holding a Bitcoin in his hand, apparently lived on 3rd Street in National Mall just outside Capitol as a demonstration.
Okay.
So that basically was done for, was it like a protest of some sort?
It was, some kind of protest or maybe not protest, but, show of
Recognizing the support of,
Support,
so
yeah.
the NPS permit apparently reads that they're recognizing the president's support for the cryptocurrency and its role in pushing Bitcoin beyond the value. It's an artistic installation, right? So basically it was just, it was done, but it wasn't done by President Trump, right? Per se.
Right. That's right. That's what that's saying right there. And it was done by demonstrators or
Exactly. So he says there that
catch the name.
now what does that do? I'll tell you what it does. I'll give you the lowdown. So basically what it does is drive up the greed. Now that's how Bitcoin is not backed by gold. It's not backed by an asset. The only thing that backs up, so Teresa, the only thing that backs up Bitcoin is thin air. That's it, right? It's not backed by any asset. So what drives up the price? It's called greed. The fear and greed index, the more people they get interested in, that's why they did it. It was done by design to drive up the demand. Once you drive up the demand, you're going to drive up the price. Do you see how it works, Steve?
Right. Oh, yeah. We had talked about that before. And so, yeah, that's the fear. The fear I'm going to be left out, or I'm not going to get mine, or other people are going to get ahead of me, or that kind of thing.
Exactly. So then they create this, they do this for a reason, to make money, guys. It's all about, not paying tribute to President Trump's support for Bitcoin. It's like, look at this, everybody. That goes viral. And then guess what? Oh, gee, I better go and buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That drives up the price.
Right.
Supply
And that's what
and
you just
demand.
said. It was very confusing. And that's what's happening is, these people are putting this stuff out and people think, it's got President Trump's face on it or name on it. It must be legit. Yeah.
It's like all the other garbage that's out there. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Poor President Trump. He's got to put an end to this crap.
It takes a lot. You gotta give him that. He takes a lot of.
The thing is, these people are gullible and they believe it. And it's like the Trump bucks and everything else that with the Trump coins that these others put out there that is just a bunch of rot,
Yeah.
And people believe it and it just, they profiteer. So that what will these grifters do? They will use that example to make money.
Yeah.
That's how it works. You know what I'm saying, D? It's just ridiculous.
I do. That's how it
disgusting.
works. And it's I'm going to read some of these posts because there's several of them here on this site, and I'm going to sit and read, and this will be good for next week's show.
Sure. Okay, let's continue on.
Yeah,
then.
let's go with some questions.
That one.
So going forward after this scare event, are they going to use Harvey's tax plan? I don't know. And once again, that's up to the people, right? I don't have any inside information that says this is suddenly going to be passed. I don't claim that and never have. What I do say is that if the people want a different monetary and taxation system, we have to let that be known to our elected officials. Now, we're back to the numbers game, right? Back to those numbers. We can't even get up to the start line until we have enough people that says, hey, this stuff is not real. This is real. We've read it. This is what we want, right? So that's the best I can answer your question.
Well, I can add something.
I can
to that.
hope. Okay, go ahead.
Using logic and facts, evidence, and receipts as we always do. So, in other words, you could see, look around the world, things are increasing in intensity, right? And I have been saying for a very long time that, when he talks about in Q Drop 521, scare necessary event, right? And I've been saying that we're heading towards a World War III scare event, right? Now, think about this. This whole system of usury has to collapse, right? Now, just recently, as I mentioned to you in the pre-show, D, about cyber attacks. we just recently had some more cyber attacks. So they've been seeding people, getting them prepared. There was 2 major airports in Europe that were cyber attacked, and you've been seeing that happening in different industries quite frequently. Now, they've been preparing. Now, they've got to bring down this whole system of usury. How are they going to do that? If they want to bring it down, because you're seeing that gold is also increasing in price. We've proven that as well.
Yeah.
So, and there's stockpiling. So I can see, as I said, Harvey's work is being in the tapestry. I can see it already. So we're living in the digital technology age of AI, all that sort of thing. So logically, the way to bring in something and new, as in the gold-back system, or the biometallic system, would be to bring down everything else in one foul swoop. The only way you would do that is using a cyber attack.
Yeah.
Because you need to get to that point where it all goes completely belly down.
Right. And I don't know that's like I said, nobody knows what his plans are for that.
Well, it's in his hands.
Yeah, it's in his hands.
Yeah.
And so whether he uses, Harvey's tax plan or not, he certainly can see elements. We've talked about the placeholders, the one to get rid of the Federal Reserve and the HR 25, even though that's not a great bill, but those things are there. And what happens, we don't know.
Exactly.
But certainly there's other things about the principles and concepts that Harvey laid out that are being used.
And according to Operation Disclosure, they know it all. Sorry,
okay.
Had to throw that one in. Be a bit sarcastic.
Right. Yeah.
Next one. So President Trump could get it through and possibly add to it.
Add to the bill? Is that what the question? So President Trump could get it through and possibly add to it. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, Harvey came up with this plan, and it's an idea. It's a suggestion. It's a better system. Remember, Harvey, he was a systems analyst, and that's what he would do. He would look at the system and say, okay, this part isn't working, this part, and develop a new cohesive system. Is it open for discussion and tweaking? Absolutely. Time has passed. We're 25 years, 30 years down the road here, and certainly the way we do financing, the way we do things has changed. So you're going to have some changes. How drastically would that be? We have to make sure that in the long run, the people aren't getting, screwed in the end. Okay. So that's where we become watchdogs, and we have to say, wait a minute, this is too close to the old way of doing things. We're not going to support that.
Agreed. Do you know who Fleming is in Congress?
Is that John Fleming?
I'm going to try and source it. Yes, you're correct, John Fleming.
Okay.
You've got a memory, unbelievable memory. He's a Republican. Send a copy to John Fleming. That's who. Do you know John Fleming at all?
Okay, I will.
Okay, you obviously know that person.
I know her.
Hi. Right. Okay.
But I'll tell
awesome.
her I sent one to John Kennedy, and I never heard back. So she'll know who that is too.
Okay. So were you on the money there with a John Fleming? Is that what that was all about? John Fleming?
John Fleming. Yeah. I think he's from Louisiana.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. And John Kennedy is also a congressman from Louisiana.
John Kennedy's a naughty boy, unfortunately.
Well, he's funny. Yeah, and he's pretty well liked. But he's pretty well liked here. So
let me show you what Mr. John Kennedy's on which list.
On the way, so I saw Grassley on the.
Yeah, no, he's on the.
Okay.
Yeah, but Grassley is trust Grassley on the Q drop, so I trust Grassley without any problem. John Kennedy. Okay, now He's currently on, let me show you how much he's making from APAC, right? Let me just show you Louisiana. You might as well just see it. Here you go. There's your friends. Louisiana.
Oh, that's right. You were showing us
Yeah.
the other guy.
There we go. John
Higgins.
Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
He's on $225,167. Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
So there they are, all the cast of characters. Oh, yeah. The lovely Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, look, Mike Johnson, I've always known that I've never had a good feeling about him, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
They play the game very well, and that's what Q says. It's not about Republicans or Democrats.
Right. Right.
Now, Grassley, okay, now Q tells us to trust Grassley. Now, even President Trump is on that APAC tracker list, right? Because what they've done is they've added the total of all the, shall we say, all the Republican parties that is under the APAC banner. So they've added that total and then they put Trump's face on it. You know what I mean?
I see. Okay. Yeah.
So, no, it's with Grassley, I trust Grassley. It says it in the Q drops. And
Yeah.
remember,
I've always trusted him. He's a good old character.
exactly. Especially I love his corn little watch that he's got going on.
Yeah.
Swift money system stay, or will something new take its place once we... Okay, you know the Swift system, how it works?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the Swift system is basically a system that it's the way they transact money, you know, from one point to another point.
Okay. Like
So
electronic
let me see if I
funds
can-
transfer.
Let me find if I can find something that's real quick and easy to explain.
Okay.
All right,
Is
so
that because Swift, is that like a electronic funds transfer system?
Swift system's been around for a very long time.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go and put down basic explanation. Okay, because we just want a real quick basic explain sort of situation. It's the way it's called the Society for the Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, right? Network. So basically it sends a secure message between financial institutions. So one point to another. It does not transfer the funds itself. Instead, your bank sends a message with payment instructions using the recipient's SWIFT code. Now, let me explain to you something. Banks manifest money out of thin air. That's how it is. They don't need to they don't transfer anything. Even the world's economists have come forward and said that as well, that they don't transfer. Transfer is an illusion that they've created. Do you realize that? It's just they manifest it.
They just change it on there. It's just on a screen. That's all. You know, there's not actual transfer.
Exactly.
All right.
So it's just basically it's a method of how they are able to send what they call a secure message between financial institutions to say, hey, you got this SWIFT code right here that's going to another, so we say, to their bank. And it's just a way of giving them basically the green light to let go of the money, you know what I mean? Or to manifest money on the other
as like
side.
I said, like an electronic funds transfer is it's kind of EFT. Now, while that particular program is not mentioned specifically in Harvey's book, he does talk about banking. We've gotten used to digital banking. I mean, he said we're not going to be walking around carrying gold and silver in our pockets. You know, you will have a dollar bill and or your regular bank account. Okay. And he actually has it laid out in there about different bank accounts, some bank accounts that are backed by gold and some bank accounts that are backed by silver. Okay. No commingling of these type of backed currencies.
Right.
That
Now,
makes
another
sense.
thing
Okay.
is,
So
I just want to say one more quick thing about the SWIFT. SWIFT system, as you can see, okay, basically was working on to a 1 to 6 day transfer. Oh, it's not transfer. Get rid of that. Of basically, you know, when you're in the clear money, so in other words, manifested on the other end, it's a 1 to 6 day time period. It's changed already. It's instant.
It's instant.
That's because of the ISO. Remember I spoke about the ISO? I spoke about it the other day, right? That's been changed. The ISO 20022. That has changed it, guys. So it has changed, which is, I have spoken about that there on the Pulse.
Okay.
So that system called the ISO 222 allows for instant transaction or instant payment. You know how you can put money from point A to point B very quickly? That's because of ISO 222. And then what these other characters have been using is the QFS.
Right.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
They've been using this QFS, but realistically speaking, it's been ISO 222.
Okay. Which, now it's instant. So
yes. Do you see what I mean? Oh no, it's been changed by the QFS. No, Charlie Ward that went out there and been the supposed leader of the QFS or the spokesman knew about the release of ISO 222 and he used that and he twisted it around for the QFS. Do you see how it all works?
Yep. Yeah. A little bit of the factual and a little bit of the con. Yeah.
So, the con's getting too much to be quite honest.
This would not change electronic banking. Let's just say that. It's something you can't live in this day and age without electronic banking.
Exactly. Let me just see. I'm sort of there's so many questions. Just give you a sec, D, while I'm just trying to find my bearings.
Okay.
Okay, where are we, guys? No, we appreciate your questions. Thank you. And
we love
they're
them.
amazing. And we're learning together too, which I love.
Yeah, I am too, because like I said, I'm the first person to say, I don't know. Let's find out.
Exactly. Okay. Sorry, Dave. Just give me a quick sec because there's so many statements. Oh, here we go. I'm back to where I was. Let's see. Any other questions, guys? Oh, here we go.
Have you ever sent a copy of your father's book to Thomas Massey? No.
That would be good. Massey, yes.
Let's write that one on the list.
Thomas Massey is someone that, as I said, the first person I would like to meet in DC and shake his hand is him.
Okay.
Yes. I've always said
we'll get a copy.
I've admired him, as in, his work. Is Thomas still okay? What does that mean, Turson? As in, is he good? No, he is good.
He means is he okay? Okay.
I've chickened out.
Is he still a good guy? I think is what he means. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's still a good guy.
Okay.
Any more questions, guys? Please throw it our way. We're not going to bite. D, what are we going to be talking about next week?
Okay, so I thought we would dive into chapter 8. I know that's a little unusual, but I think I want to hit that because it's really, and it's called "To Talk of Many Things." And let's see if I can get our page number here.
You know what I'm going to call it? How about this for a title? You tell me if you like it. Harvey's Crystal Ball.
You could do that. Well, read it first, okay?
I'll read it.
And then make sure you read the first little passage at the beginning because it talks about the time has come. The walrus said to talk of many things.
Oh, the looking glass.
Okay, yes, of shoes and ships and scaling wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot and whether pigs have wings. And so that's the start off of the chapter, and it's really good, and it just brings in so much stuff that ties everything together. So I think you'll really enjoy it.
This Lewis Carroll, because that's mentioned in the Q drops as well, don't you? This looking glass by Lewis Carroll.
Isn't that interesting? I never put that one into, but yes, it is interesting in the Q drops, and that's funny.
It is. Now, the looking glass, the further you go into it in the Alice in Wonderland series, the more weird and obscure things become.
Right.
So that makes sense with what Harvey's. Obviously,
Yeah, and
I need
that's
to read this chapter, so it's very
you do.
interesting.
Yeah, you
Yes.
need to read it, and so I think it's going to be a lot for everybody to read, and we'll open up discussion. So
That's awesome. I'm
Great.
looking forward to this.
yeah, me too.
This seems like a very interesting chapter now. Look, what I'm seeing is, and I keep saying it every time, is that the tapestry of Harvey's work is right in front of us right now. Is
Yeah.
right here.
I think
You
it's
can
playing
see it.
out. I think it is, and like I said, its time has come, and so it's great. It's very rewarding to see that that people appreciate it and understand it, and it can be recognized for its value.
Oh, look, it's amazing. It really is, and we are living in really, like, times of, shall we say, it's exciting, but it's also uncertain.
It is. Now, that's a lot of things that some of the companies we were talking about, companies investing here in the United States, or even existing companies deciding whether to expand, things are uncertain. And while President Trump is doing the best he can to bring all the manufacturing here and that kind of stuff, it's still uncertain for the everyday companies and the everyday citizens. The stock market's doing great. I mean, we have, that's a good thing. But a stock, someone who invests in the stock market can put in $100,000 today and take it out tomorrow. Companies have to look at, okay, am I going to expend this money to expand? But hopefully, President Trump has, all the companies that he's bringing here are that's going to be finalized, and we'll actually see some ground broke. That's what I have to say. When you hire the first contractor and you start building something, then we can say, yeah, we're on our way.
Right, there we go.
This is from, could President Trump implement Nesara by an executive order and make it the law of the land? Interesting question. I'm not familiar with what the limitations are on executive orders, what the rules are on that. But the way I understand it, this is something that would have to be voted on by the Congress. But that's a good question. He does a lot of other things by executive order, and sometimes he signs executive orders, and then it takes a while for all of that to be implemented. This is something that takes time to set up. It's not like flicking on a light switch or off a light switch. When you're talking about an entire department, let's just take, the IRS department. You don't just, okay, well, we're going to start doing this now. There has to be a procedure in place. There has to be a time where we have a cutoff and we phase things out. Same thing with if you're going to all of a sudden change the currency. Okay, so you don't have fiat debt currency. There's a procedure for that and a process, and that takes time to enact and to actually produce. And Harvey's got that outlined in here step by step how that can be accomplished. So an executive order, he might can do it. But again, I don't think he would do anything like that without having everything lined up, ready to go.
Rightio, there's no one here for you.
I still get that. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I'm actually wearing one of the Black Nesara t-shirts tonight. Yeah, everybody wants me to do one with Harvey's picture on it. So I know you like the one from the 60s that you have on the front thing.
Oh, I like the one with the sunnies. That looks really cool as well. Make it look a retro-y looking. That look cool.
Yeah, that's the one everybody seems to like. It's so funny. It's just a haphazard picture. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get on it and work on one. I've had enough requests, so I think that'll be a good seller. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And we need to have questions for Dee to ask her mother. Please, guys, don't be shy.
And send me an email if you don't, or you can ask her right now and I'll jot it down. But I'd like to what would y'all like to ask Gene?
Exactly. I'm sure there'll be
a flood of questions.
You know what the obvious would be? I know which one. Let me tell you which one.
Okay, which one?
the one with the dove of oneness, how he was feeling at the time when that was coming out.
And she would
I
be
reckon that
able
would
to
be
tell
a
you.
one that'll be asked.
Yeah, she would be able to tell you.
And how was your mother feeling at the time? Yeah, let's capture that.
Yeah,
as
I'm
well.
sure. Yeah, she was not happy. So you know.
Oh, like a firecracker.
Yeah, she can be. She can be. Yeah.
So, look, obviously we want to know, look, how Harvey was feeling at the time, where he was confronted with that scenario. When did he first come up with that little, shall we say, when that was brought to his attention? You know what I mean?
Right.
But also let's talk about the good times.
Yeah.
Well,
she was there when he was writing this, and they lived in different states because of his contract work. So, I know that she was there with him when he was formulating and doing research, and probably did all the typing, and so I'm sure that there's some little backstories there that would be interesting for us to hear. So,
isn't the one?
Okay. Will the stock market continue to be strong? Will the fiat money lose its value? Well, fiat money is not worth anything now, other than a debt. And so, that's kind of answers itself. I don't know about how the stock market would react. I can't see into the future. Certainly it wouldn't go away, obviously it's something like that, but how would it be strong or not? It's going to fluctuate like anything else does. When you have a change, I mean, look at now, you change something small and the market does this, so that's really unpredictable. But I think in the long haul, yes, it would be strong because companies and corporations are, again, not paying those corporate taxes, not paying, taxes on raw materials, and it's more profitable for them. And then that savings is passed down to the consumer.
Now, the stock market as well is another system that was created to trade what we call stocks and bonds, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, did you know also that they trade us on the stock market as, shall we say, shadow? That's true as well.
Right.
And
yeah.
that system was set up back in the 17th century. Once again, that ties into it was the first one was the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, established in 1602, and it ties to the British again as well. So the Dutch East Indian Company that they created. Oh, yeah. So there's a bit of a history to that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
So if it's a system that's created for the detriment of mankind, I say get rid of it. Mm-hmm. That's my personal opinion. Get rid of it. Because if they're using that system for our detriment, what's the point of having something like that? Where we're living in a system where the rich are always benefiting and we're always copying the show this sharp end of the stick. That's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's another? I mean, look, we're Dee's basing questions on Harvey's work, and obviously there's a lot more deeper meaning behind the stock market. So that's obviously a different topic altogether.
Yeah, it's a different topic, and I don't know. Like I said, I'm not well versed enough in.
That's something that piques my interest because that would be interesting to do a decode on.
It would be, and interesting to see. We could run some scenarios on what would be the market effects under this type of package. In other words, the Federal Reserve is gone. You have a bimetallic currency. Compound interest is gone. That's a huge one, right? That's when it saves your mortgage, your housing industry, and any secured loan. And so take that package and run some scenarios and see. Yeah.
He's at it again, D. He's at it again.
Remarks and Cornerstone Institution Founders Dinner. Okay.
Yes, then obviously that's going to be more work for me.
Okay.
You know,
That's it.
you know,
Okay.
because obviously when he speaks, and there's obviously things that we need to pay attention to,
Yeah.
as always. And then
Okay.
tomorrow, well, in your tomorrow, in the Eastern time, it's today.
Mm-hmm.
We know what's going to be happening. It's going to be Kirkmania, right?
Yeah, and like I said, I'm kind of letting that parade go by, but
Yes.
you know, and that's it. But yes, they're having the memorial tomorrow and during the daytime. Also tomorrow, and I don't know, we won't see it here in the northern hemisphere, but there's a partial solar eclipse.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's only visible in the southern hemisphere.
You know,
Just
what's
throwing that out there.
interesting- Yeah. You know what's interesting? I don't know if you saw it, D, but I paid attention to it. So let's talk about President Trump and his assassination attempt in Butler. You know, I was there in the States at the time, and I was
No.
actually going to go to Butler. I was going to drive to Butler.
Mm-hmm.
So I was that close, but I actually chose to go to the one in Miami at the time. I was going to hire a car and drive all the way to Butler. Now, that's how close I was to going there.
Wow.
I would have been there.
Yeah.
Imagine being there. But anyway, going back to that day. Now, after all this happened, there wasn't shall we say, everything sort of like being swept under the carpet. Have you noticed? That was like, what was the motive? This, that, the other. It was all swept under the carpet. Why there was such a failure? Look, we could talk about this till we're blue in the face. The point is that since Charlie Kirk's assassination,
Mm-hmm.
there's been an increase. That now the Congress are just jumping up and down, and they're wanting to increase security. So wasn't President Trump's assassination attempt enough to spark it off? But now, what they're doing is they're getting an extra $10,000 a month in their pay packet. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
No, let me show you.
Okay.
You know, isn't that lovely?
Yeah. So they're
I
getting-
wish we had that kind of money to have personal security as well.
Okay, so it's for security then. Yeah.
You know, well, is it? Or is it given to them to do whatever they wish,
They
whether
want
they
to,
wish to have
yeah.
security or whether
Right.
they don't?
Right.
You know, that's the question that I ask. So, as I said, you know, it's taken this for that to happen. What, wasn't President Trump's assassination attempt enough?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It makes you wonder. So there's obviously bigger things at play. That's what I get. Bigger things at play here.
At play, yeah. Other
Yeah.
than people being emotional about it, and so who proposed that, and who ultimately made the decision that money would be added to the packet? There's follow the trail.
Well, that's it. So I just said, look, you know, I just think that why would they take all this time and then decide that they want extra security around all these people? Now, I know
Mm-hmm.
Caroline Levitt is basically getting her own Secret Service details. So she's getting her own detail now. Did you realize that as well?
No.
So she's getting her own detail. It seems to me that everything's happening that's not protocol.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did it take this to happen? Now, look at this. Here we go. Trump administration to seek $58,000. Oh, 50, not thousand. Sorry, 58 million. Let me bring that back up again. You see it?
Security boost.
So he took that in order to basically, wasn't President Trump more important enough to do that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It doesn't-
Yeah. Yeah. It
there's a
doesn't
lot
make
of things that I
it doesn't
question.
make sense. Yeah. And
Look at that. So the Trump administration is asking Congress to approve an additional $58 million for security to protect the executive and judicial branches. So you got the executive and judicial branches. So executive meaning obviously the branch that President Trump belongs to, and the judicial, which is the DOJ. Is that correct? I think that's what it means.
Judicial would be the judges,
Yes.
Supreme Court, judicial,
So
DOJ. Yeah.
here we go. The boosting spending
Washington
includes a
State.
doubling
No, I
to
don't think so.
20,000 the lifetime amount members can spend. Oh, here we go. Previously, members could spend up to 10,000, so they've upped it up to 20.
Okay.
It calls also for increasing lawmakers' security monitoring their maintenance allotment to 5,000 per month. So they're basically increasing the amount. Just something I thought I just brought to people's attention that was very interesting. To be
That is
quite honest,
interesting. Yeah, we need to kind of keep tabs on that. So they're asking for it; they haven't received it yet. Is that the way?
And this is the thing: where does the money come from? That's
well, it
my
comes
question.
from us.
Yeah, I know. But
It comes from
what's the current debt?
right? It comes from us.
What's the current debt of?
Right.
Let's have a look, ladies and gentlemen, what the current debt is.
So where are they taking that from? Who are they cutting off to do that? Is it? I bet you it's not they're not giving up anything.
No.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's got to come from somewhere, doesn't it?
Right. It's got to come from somewhere.
The current debt is currently. Look at this.
It's scary. I don't want to look at it.
I know it's a bit of a horror show, as President Trump calls it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Come on, go. Get out. There it is. 37 trillion 507 billion. I think I'm saying it correct, isn't it? And it's ticking. Now, Thomas Macy has got that. Oh, sorry, let me just show you. There we go. How's that? Is that better for you?
Yes, a little bit. I can't read the small letters, but
Right. So it's 37 trillion 507 billion. Is that 38 million? And then the hundreds of thousands is
it's ticking
like crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that money's coming out of there, isn't it? It's unbelievable.
Well, we talked about that tonight, the deficit spending, and never replacing it when you have a surplus, right? The main goal of politicians is to give more stuff. Well, in order to please their constituents and or whomever they so desire, and the way to do that is to continue to raise taxes.
The only ones they're pleasing is themselves.
A system that becomes non-sustainable, and that's what Harvey was saying.
Well, the only system they're praising is their own system, and the only ones they're helping is themselves, because I thought they're supposed to be the employee and the people are the employers.
That's the way it's supposed to be. And that's why, I get frustrated sometimes because I say, look, this is our country, this is our money, and we need to, let them know, and in no uncertain terms. That's why I tell people, email your representatives, do it twice a week, send them a letter. But you have to be consistent. You have to stay consistent with it until it floods them to the point where they say, okay, this is an issue.
Oh, look at that. Democratic leaders in Congress demand a meeting with Trump as government shutdown looms.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd understand the Democrats were asking for a great deal of tack-ons on the deal, that they were, I think, the Republicans just want to say, look, we want this one-time thing to raise the debt ceiling, whatever it is, to continue government, to make it keep going. But they said, no, we're not going to give it to you. It's just the same old game. It's the same old game. And it's not Democrats, Republicans. It doesn't matter. Whoever has the ball at the time, it's the same game. We're not going to give you what you want unless you give us what we want. And the American people are sitting here like at a tennis game. They're just going back and forth.
I agree with Carol. Shut it down.
Shut it down. Hey, Carol.
Shut it
us,
down.
To me and you, or is she talking to me?
It's like this. Just shut it down and see what happens.
Shut it down.
Yeah, let's just see what happens. Just shut it down. Right. But look, the deadline is what? Before the September the 30th. Now, that's another 9 days, isn't it?
Yeah.
8, 9 days. Very interesting.
Yeah.
But we've been in this path before many times. That's the thing. It's
Yeah.
not something that's new.
No, it's not.
And it's always at the last minute they manage to reopen it or keep it open.
Right.
Because you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't make sense because doesn't it stop them from getting paid? Does it stop Congress from getting paid, or are they getting paid? They don't
I
care.
think they're being paid anyway. It doesn't, I know when the government shuts down, it does not stop essential services. Okay. But there are, it does stop some things. Now, does that include Congress's paycheck? It should.
I agree.
Tell you what's right about it, but as I have always understood it, essential services are not terminated.
Yeah, look, I'm still trying to get over the fact that we're the employers and they're the employees. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, it does.
Because it seems to me that the employers are always getting shafted. How does that work? You must be a shithouse business. You must be running a shithouse business.
In this case, that is true. That is true. So.
You know what I mean? So, any other questions, guys? Please, we're taking your last minute questions now.
Yeah, let's take a few more questions, and just pulled up the Facebook page here. Thank you to everybody who has gone on and supported us there. I really appreciate it. That helps us more than you know.
We all need to work together. Where we go one, we go all. We're on this together,
right.
guys.
Yeah.
Now, look, tomorrow's going to be a write-off, or I'm just calling it what it is. It's the news cycle is going to be basically destroyed, right? It's going to be the Kirk mania, right? I've already accepted it. That's what's going to happen. But also, I've noticed something else. There's been a heightened security increase in that stadium. They've already apparently stopped a shooter or someone that was going to do some business. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, the way I heard it, it was right before we went on, or shortly before. There was a person of interest who was stopped. They were dressed as a law enforcement officer, but they really were not. And they had them detained. And that was, had just happened shortly before we went on. So I don't know. I haven't gotten any update on that. But I can imagine that the security is extremely high there.
And anything is possible at this point. I just don't rule anything out.
It should be. It's a shame that it has to be, but that's where we are. So
now, I've been to the Trump rallies, right? A Trump rally. Now, let me tell you something. Security is everywhere, and I'll never forget. Even the time that he was supposedly not the president, I actually saw military in the bush, right, in the trees, hidden, the vehicles. No, I knew.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you can play the game that is Joe Biden. We know that's all whatever. But the security is tight. Put it this way, very, very tight. And that's what I'm saying. These things that happen, like this Pennsylvania business, right? And I've shown you the Q drops. That was all staged, right? They go there. I know what they do. They go weeks beforehand. They scope out every place, every nook and cranny, and there was no way that would allow that to happen, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Now, anything that happens over there, it's basically you can say with much certainty or most certainty that they've allowed it to happen. You know what I mean? So they've scoped out this stadium way before,
right?
And then anything goes on, I don't know how they're going to manage to get a gun in there and sniper somebody there or do some funny business. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah. And like I said, the security tomorrow will be extremely tight. And even though I know they're expecting 100,000 people, I think the main stadium holds 60, and they're going to have overflow in a stadium next door or somewhere that's relatively close. And so, but yeah, it will be tight, and they won't allow you to bring anything in. It's just
Oh, look, when I went to the
And it
Trump
should
rally, they're very tight. Don't you worry about that. People would leave there, so they'd walk. You know, like have you ever been to one?
I haven't been to a Trump rally. I've been to many large events that were secure, but I've never been to a Trump rally.
Oh.
But I can imagine that the security is heightened. You know, they don't allow you to take anything in as far as, you know, women, you can't take a purse, you can't take a bag, whatever you do take has to be clear. You know, there's all these kind of rules and regulations and, you know, multiple metal detectors and that type of thing. So.
Oh, it's pretty full on. So what happens is, you're in like this little cattle ranch business, you know, you know, you're waiting there for hours, right? I'll never forget that experience. Anyway, Secret Service, bang, right in front of you, scanners. People were bringing in these disposable chairs and they had to leave them there.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even let them bring it in.
No, you can't.
No, bags. I've seen it. That's what I'm saying. It's just very sus. And they have so much security there. It's unbelievable. As I said, I've seen the military in the trees, hidden vehicles and all that sort of thing.
Right.
They don't muck around.
No, they don't.
Seriously don't muck around.
Yeah.
And that's why I find things that happen like this very, very strange and very odd. And then I look at the comms, as you always do. Now, let me show you something that you're going to laugh.
Okay.
You know, oh, hold on. Quick little decode. Charlie Kirk's Memorial in Arizona, right? Now, let's have a look at some stats here. The man was arrested. His name is Joshua Runkles. Apparently, Joshua was booked on charges of carrying a weapon into a prohibited place and impersonating, you're correct, a police officer of the right? Now, let me show you something. You know, when we go with the Q drops, 42. What does Q drop 42 take us to, D? Do you know where it takes us? Let me show you. And this is what I'm saying, that things, they're very odd. You just got to call it what it is. And as Q says, how many coincidences before you call it mathematically impossible, right? We go to Q drop 42, which is a famous Q drop, which basically says this.
We serve at the pleasure of the president. We serve equals military. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Very, very interesting, to say the least. And what we're looking is for more comms. So obviously when these events take place, we're going to be looking for more comms to see the numbers.
How they relate.
Yeah. Yeah.
How they
usually
relate.
the calling card is there. You know what I'm saying? So already you've got that business. And it doesn't surprise me there'll be other business going on. And for some reason, I think there is going to be something, you just call it out of the ordinary. You know what I'm saying?
We shall see. Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. So, and I hope that, everyone, and that's what's most important. And
yes,
that's just how I feel about it. So,
yep. Anything else you want to say, Dave, before we wrap it up?
No, I've had a great evening, and I hope, like I said, we've answered some questions and everybody has learned something. And I know I have. I always learn something when we do the show because there's just new things that come up, or maybe, questions that I have about Harvey's work that we can look in together. So see you next week. Do not forget to like, share, comment, and get your copy of Draining the Swamp. And that's about it. Thank you, FCB. You've been great. And tell your team another great week. Yeah. Next week, chapter 8. Don't forget.
Chapter 8. And I'm going to call it. I've already picked it.
Oh, you have? Well, don't look. You want to be a surprise?
Okay, I'll surprise you. I'll surprise everybody.
Me. I like that. All right.
Okay.
All
Cheers,
right.
bye.
See you later.
Waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh Lord, oh Lord. Well, if you told